Good evening. It's Tuesday night, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. The skeleton crew's here anyway.
Indeed.
We're waiting on the other boys. Don't know where they're at.
I'll row, you steer.
I guess. I don't know where everybody is. But greetings. That's what we're waiting for. We're just sitting here waiting. I'm just sitting here like, maybe we should have kept the other time.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Shit
Yeah.
happens sometimes. It's all good.
Indeed. But yes, so say hello to the kids, Jesse of Jesse Miller over at the Crow's Nest. How you doing?
Hello, boys and girls. How are you today? What would you like to talk
well.
about?
Well, we got a few things.
SJW Scum, your favorite movie's getting wrecked. What's on deck?
Yeah, right. Gonzalo Bergali, if I'm saying your name right, is a member and says hello, hello. We got Trav 101 here. Oh, Goddess of Women's in Trouble. She read the warning. Donnie Pearson's here. Mr. Dragon's here. Mecca J's here. Steven, aka Deleted Scenes, is here and says, hey, here we go. Yes, indeed. Eagle Fang for Life is here. Marks 47 is here. So many people coming in. I see Willie Woodward's here as well. Babo Yogi's here. Max Relax. Yeah. Did I say it wrong the first time?
You know Baba Yaga?
I know the name. Now own the t-shirt.
The children.
Griffin Turbo's here though. Let's see who else is here. Bugs Meanie. Yeah. What's up, Doc? Let's see. We got Dark Shadow here. Six is here, of course, swinging that wrench around. So you better behave. And so many more people are here as well. Thank you for joining us on this, what it appears to be Lazy Tuesday. So how you been, Jesse? We didn't stream last Thursday.
Yeah, it was abrupt, but whatever. Hung out with my son. It was fun.
You did
recently.
Scream,
I've seen the new Scream movie, and that was fucking terrible.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it was absolutely trash.
So without giving away any spoilers, what did you kind of think of it, or what made you think it was trash?
Well, the first scene overall is very good, but then after that, they go along at a normal pace, and it's kind of dull because it's like very much a rehash of the first movie with different characters. But halfway, what's spoiler? I mean, halfway through, there's like a SJW speech.
Yeah.
And then it proceeds from there.
Well, that's what I was afraid of. You and a few other people have told me similar things. I heard.
Oh, it's so obvious. It's not even like a hidden thing, or it's just like.
Well, and you kind of said that it kind of comments on toxic fans saying they're the problem.
That it's in the script. It is in the movie.
It's definitely in the movie.
It's not even like done well. It's just so pathetic and bad. But the thing was, they try to make you like the movie by trying to make the kills more brutal. So they try to mask over everything by just stabbing the guy an extra 6 or 7 times. Because that's what horror fans want,
right? Well, and that's never what made
Scream in an uncreative way.
Let's be real. That's never what made Scream famous to begin with, right? Like it was always more about
the meta breakdown of the rules,
camaraderie, and the breakdown of the rules, and because like, for instance, my point I was getting to is like my cousins loved the film, but they didn't like horror films. Like that was my first sign that something was wrong with Scream.
Yeah. Right? Now, for instance, Jamie Kennedy has a copycat character in this movie that's supposed to be a relation.
Oh Lord, I seen he commented on the film, but I didn't get a chance to hear his review.
Yeah. Chef actually went through the whole movie shot by shot. Like she remembered the whole damn thing. I'm like, how'd you remember everything from a movie that's terrible?
I haven't seen it yet, so I wanted to go see it this weekend. But Mikey's finally here. How you doing, Mikey? And he's mute.
He'll figure it out. He knows what he's doing.
So yeah, Mikey will be live here shortly.
All right, there we go.
There he is.
Yeah, did you end up?
Am I on Mexican time?
I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if we shouldn't just kept the time at 7.
Okay, that's fine with me. Sorry, buddy. I thought we were going at 8 o'clock tonight. My bad.
No, it's.
I'm over like researching and doing all kinds of little workout.
No, remember the show moved up an hour, so we're just sitting here twiddling.
Now, Mikey, did you go to and see Scream, or did you avoid it like the plague?
No, it's. I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
You told me not to go see it, so I didn't. Go see it.
Like seriously, it's bad.
I was gonna go to the theaters and see it. It's on my. I'll probably watch it anyways because my whole family's talking about my nieces and nephews and stuff. So Uncle Mike's in town, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, you'll be sitting behind them all in the theater in the next row over, just screaming at the screen the whole time.
That's okay. I got earbuds and I got. Well, maybe we'll see. Don't. No spoilers. Let me just check it out because I'm probably should because all the nieces and nephews want to see it. So
Yeah, I plan on checking it out. Yeah,
I can't wait till Script Doctor sees it. That's going to be fucking hilarious.
I don't even know what he thought of the first 4. I mean, I didn't hate the first 4, but I hate what the first 4 did to movies, right? Like, it's to horror movies specifically.
I watch cartoons with better dialogue.
Oh no, that's not good. See, I didn't. I know like Halloween had really shitty dialogue, but I liked that aspect of it. Right? It felt like an old school horror movie because of it. I don't know.
See, this one could have done that. They could have done that, and they decided not to.
I have a new term for a lot of the stuff in Hollywood. I'm calling it the glossification of genres.
Yeah. It's like, dude, the only social media I'm on anymore is Instagram, and I'm like follow like some Friday the 13th things, right? So it's like half the comments are like, oh, they should try to reboot Friday the 13th and stop it when he was still living, then like have everything from 6 on just be the movies that existed in that universe. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Like, those are the ones that people like.
Right? You're on a Friday the 13th page trying to say to get rid of Kane Hodder?
I mean, let's be real. Yeah, people, the fans, of course, hold the first 5 up very highly, but it's 6 and 7 is the ones that people really love. Like, there's a reason why 7's been released 24 times on DVD and video more than the other ones, because it's the highest selling one.
And Fanto,
yes, I do like scary movies, but they have to be cool and inventive with their killing.
Okay, you guys are scaring me now.
Here's my other problem with this movie. They already now again, don't get into spoilers, Jesse, but here's my problem is the last film, part 4 from 10 years ago or whatever it was
bad.
That movie kind of covered what remakes and reboots were all about. So like I don't understand what they're doing. They didn't watch
that before they made this one.
So they're basically covering all the same ground again.
Oh yeah. I don't.
Well, because they were like making a big deal about
to say this without.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Scream 4 then, because here's my problem with Scream 4. Like everything that they boasted about being in this movie was already in Scream 4, right? I haven't seen the film, and so I can't say that they're.
Oh, every single element of this movie was already in one of the movies.
That's what. Well, that makes sense. But like, my point is, Scream 4, the killer ended up being Sydney's fucking niece or cousin. So like there was already a family member that was involved with this, and that was kind of what they're boasting about this one. It commented on the reboots and remake thing, and that was so that's kind of what they're talking about here. So it's like, okay, like you bring all the original people back and manage to they live through the whole thing, but I would hope at least one of the main characters dies or is the killer, because otherwise what's the point? And at that point then it's like, okay, so which one of the people of the original cast are you going to ruin? So there you go. So yeah, check. All right, I got you.
Come on.
They should do like
you have more words of prophecy.
Let me guess, it's Dewey because he's been harboring this thing about his sister for 20 years.
Spoiler.
Oh shit, I was right, huh? I haven't seen nothing about the movie outside the trailer, but I'm just guessing.
Okay, I'm going to pretend this show hasn't happened yet, and I'm in an alternate reality
where this movie was good.
And I know that because they haven't brought his sister up since the first fucking movie, so or the second one or whatever. So yeah,
I'm gonna do my own Scream, like a murder mystery. Who done it? Like Scream, who done it? And it's the rabbit chicken that done it. No, not inspiring fear.
Yeah, and then James, like I knew because he's the only guy out of the 3. There's that too. But I mean, if they do that though, that's ruining that character 110%. Because he was there for, like, he was brought back and kept alive by Wes Craven for a reason.
I could tell you something that they didn't do that I would have preferred to have somehow
made a good movie.
To have somehow Stu live through the first movie and he disappeared off the map and it would be him.
Well, that was the original idea for part 3. Did you know that?
Because he never got shot in the head, right?
Well, originally, because
brain.
Kevin Williamson didn't write the 3rd film. They threw away his idea for the 3rd film.
I like Matthew Lillard. I would have liked to see
He
him
was
come
Matthew
back as
Lillard
another
was
I
supposed
loved
to
him.
come
killer.
back for part 3.
I
That
loved
was the
him.
original plot of part 3, was that Stu never died. He's been sitting in prison this whole time, orchestrating everything from behind the scenes. And in part 3, he's revealed to be not dead, which I'm glad they didn't do, because it makes no fucking sense. Because why else? Like, Sydney would know he's still alive the whole time.
I would like for him to be in a new movie, like this one should have been, and have him do the sit in prison and stew thing, no pun intended, but not tell anyone what he was thinking. Just be one of those quiet prisoners.
Yeah, but see, they never established that he was still alive.
Making a new plan. Yeah,
the only way
they shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, no, they should have, because then otherwise, to me, it's cheap.
Yeah, but
right?
Like to throw that in. By the way, Stu is still alive. That's kind of, it feels like a forced line, no matter how you go about it.
Well, either way, it seems even
like,
more
why tell
forced
Sydney that?
Yeah, but it seems even more forced to have him still be like, wouldn't she be like aware of like his trial and all this other shit going on? She'd be one of the key witnesses. Like, all this shit, and it makes no sense to just kind of make it. To me, that's like, I wish script was.
That's where I would assume that part 2 picks up after that, because they're already making a film about the events.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This part 3
well either.
This part 3 was written after part 2, meaning like part 2 had already happened. So like, it was just like a last, like, it was like, yeah, this was what I want to do, and then they're like, the studio didn't like that.
Yeah, then that doesn't make sense.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would have come out of nowhere.
But if they did that now, you could still assume that the trial took place directly after the first movie, before the second movie.
True, but the fact that nobody ever mentioned him again, and then stuff like that, it just,
they should have mentioned he's rotting in jail.
Well, no, but that's how you do it.
In prison for killing
set it up
kids.
Like this is what I'm saying now. And this is why I wish Script was here, because he'd probably say the same thing I am. But he'd say like, all you do is you have like Dewey in part 2 say something about the trial and Stu's in prison, and then when all the killings start happening in part 2, be like, yeah, they tossed his cell, they couldn't find anything, they don't think he's involved.
Yeah, but if they did that, they would have used them up by part 4 at least, because
that's what I'm saying.
At that point, we were grasping at straws, because once you took Cotton out of the equation, then he was your last.
Well, he wasn't originally supposed to be the one to die in the beginning of part 3 either. Like, part 3 is a completely different movie than what they originally intended it to be.
My order for the Scream movies goes 1, 3, 2, 4. And now this one, because I was talking with Chef about this last night, but seeing as this one doesn't have a sequel number, make the next movie Scream 5.
I am sick and tired of this not putting a number after a newer movie.
Isn't that weird and annoying? Like, isn't that just like basic common sense?
If it's a continuation of the story, it's still a sequel, even though you're trying to hide it by not putting
Superman
it there.
2, Superman 3.
Well, they did it that all up, Mikey. It was Resident Evil. Try putting those movies in order. I don't even know how many there are.
I gave up a long time ago.
How many Resident Evil movies are there? 7?
Are there?
Yeah, see, and you could even mess with the whole idea, because if you could have Stu be like kind of like a Hannibal Lecter, then he'd have been fucking with everybody from the start. See?
Wait, are there 7? Hold on, let me count.
I think there is 7 of those fucking movies.
4.
The bottom line is it could have done a million things with this movie to make it a good movie. Now, apparently, everybody wants to go back to Texas Chainsaw, and that only really had one good movie as far as.
Well, they already got the remake done. It's going to be on Netflix.
They made a reboot back in the day, and that was
no. Yeah, I know. This is like another remake. They're starting over again. Yeah.
Is it like, I don't see what the big deal about Texas Chainsaw is really, because it's like, he's not. Leatherface gets put in the pantheon of like Jason and Freddy and Michael Myers.
There's 2.3 Leatherface movies, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
wait, what?
I know goddamn well that you've seen.
I've seen the other dozens. That's what I'm saying. There's the first 2, which are the only 2 Toby Hooper had anything to do with.
Yeah, but number 2 is absolutely ridiculous.
I love part 2 though. I don't care.
Dude, that is cocaine fueled mayhem.
That's why it's fucking awesome.
There's a chainsaw
because
sword fight.
That's what I'm saying, Jesse.
That's why I don't think it's canon. I never took it as canon.
Well, it's canon, but it isn't.
I took it as now this franchise is going wackadoo.
Well, it's because he knew he could never capture the original film again, and they forced him to make a part 2. That was how he got a bunch of other movies done.
Yeah, you know what? The thing about part 1 is that it was scary in a different way.
Well, yeah.
It was that fact that no matter what you do, you're not getting away.
No. Well, and then
they don't have to like be scary towards you.
And then as far
You're
as the
just not
third
getting away.
film, I'll accept the original Texas Chainsaw 3 just because Robert Meyer Burnett worked on it. But I actually kind of have a soft spot for Texas Chainsaw 3D. I didn't hate that movie. And actually, I wish they would have stuck with the original script. It would have made more sense. Because the original script took place in the past. It
See,
wasn't.
but then after that, you get what was the other one? New Generation or something?
Well, that was years ago. That was one that they
And-
had on the
and-
shelf.
And that one was absolutely bizarre.
That's the one that had what's his face? All right.
McConaughey.
Yeah, McConaughey, and yeah, that one was barely a Texas Chainsaw movie. Yeah, thoughts on
movie
Next
didn't make a
Generation?
hell of a
It's a
lot of
horrible
sense.
piece of shit. That's what it is.
Yeah, the Next Generation. Is that what it was called? They seriously
Yes.
just stole that.
It was
straight
called The
from
Next
Star
Generation,
Trek.
yes. Well,
Great.
it wasn't a lie. It was technically the kids of the original family. It was just, you can't make a fucking. It just sucked.
How did that inbred ass family make all attractive people?
That's a good question.
That's a great question, right?
You know, when you're inbred, you get a slope back forehead and you get a long jaw.
Hey, no,
Yeah, and Matthew McConaughey tried to keep that movie buried for years.
It's no Rain of Fire.
So did what's her face from Bridget Jones? What's her name?
I don't even remember who the chick in that movie was.
It's what's her face from Bridget Jones.
Oh, come on, Tom.
The main chick, Renee Zellweger.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sander.
Zellweger. Yeah. Talk
She's
about
in it
plastic
too,
surgery gone awry.
Yeah, it was a movie they both did before. they were
Speaking
even
of
involved in
Mikey.
business, yeah.
Speaking of plastic surgery going awry,
Oh my God. Yo, Courtney Cox is Willem Dafoe in drag.
dude, what happened to her face?
Dude, it's
What?
Willem Dafoe in drag. I'm telling you.
No, maybe.
Willem Dafoe would kick my ass for saying
I
that.
mean-
He'd be like,
I mean,
"Bitch,
that's the one that
jokes
needs to-
hell way better than
I haven't
that."
seen the movie yet, but I'm like, that's the one that needs to be wearing a mask the whole movie. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Poor Courtney Cox.
Dude, like spend the extra $49.95 for the warranty on the plastic surgery. That's what I say.
Steven's like, someone actually gave Dennis Hopper a chainsaw. Yes, and that's why that movie is fucking awesome.
Dude, there was a chainsaw sword fight and the chains never caught each other.
Hey,
Isn't
you
it
get
weird?
Easy Rider fighting fucking Leatherface, man. How can you get better than that?
Can you
The
imagine me
future
and
King
Jesse
Koopa.
having a chainsaw fight? Oh my god, I'd probably cut
That would be
myself.
awesome. Sparks would fly.
One of us will be dead if not both of us. Are you kidding me? This is not a good idea.
You're taller than me, Jesse, I think, aren't you? Are you like
Maybe.
6'1", 6'2"? How tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
Oh, okay. So you're just a little taller than me. I'm like 5'10".
Yeah, so there's no reach advantage here. It's just two assholes hitting each other with chainsaws.
But I'm 6'1" in heels. Uh-oh.
Why are you wearing heels?
Yeah, are you really good in heels or something?
You don't have to. It's not like anybody can see them. It's
Is
'cause
that
you
an
like to wear them.
enhancement or some kind of fighting buff? Like
Mexican iron heels.
it's a whole new type of a show.
This is a whole
2022.
This conversation took a whole another kind of turn now. Well, you got to use the rabbit chickens for something. I guess we're
That's
making
right. We
shoes.
started talking horror movies, and now we've turned it into the horror show. Rah!
Gen X or Geno X, Jesus, sorry. 1987 sends in $2 Canadian, eh? So I'm sorry. I'm not just sorry. I'm sorry for that. Says, look at Phantasm 2 for great chainsaw duel. Yeah, Phantasm 2 is it's a movie. It's not my favorite of the Phantasms. It's all right. My big problem with Phantasm 2 is they didn't bring the original kid back. And that other guy they have playing him is like a shit actor. And it's like, what was the point? But yeah, the studio didn't want him. They wanted a star. Speaking of wanting stars, let's get into this. I was hoping Script Doctor or somebody else would be here by now.
Sorry, you were here. You got stuck with me and Jesse.
Yep.
No, I don't know why everybody's so late. I mean, I've sent the link out to a half a dozen people already, and nobody's here. None of the regulars.
Maybe they are enjoying some dinner.
But then the moment I start sending it out to anybody else, then everybody will show up. So we're just going to keep it like this for the moment. We'll see how it goes.
Let's roll.
But the big news that came across my desk, at least as far as I'm concerned, Weird Al Yankovic's story is in the works with Daniel Radcliffe. Okay.
I like the idea of making a movie about Weird Al, and I do like Daniel Radcliffe, but he like you showed the pictures before,
I'm
and
not
it's
so
just
sure
like
that they, like
Daniel Radcliffe looks like an Englishman, and Weird Al Yankovic looks French to me.
maybe
I know
like
he's not French, but he looks French to me.
we were trying to, before the show, while we were waiting for Mike and Script and whoever else to show up, we're kind of trying to think of who would you get to play Weird Al, though.
What is
Like, that's the
Yankovic?
thing.
Polish?
I don't know.
Well, the other thing, he's got such a distinctive look, and his face, his mug is burned into our memories. So
Exactly.
I mean, it's a tough
You know what's
casting
sad
call.
is the only person I can think of who can actually play him and do a good job, and I fucking don't really like him anyway, is the guy from the nerd that does the reviews, the glasses, the guy with glasses. What the hell? Shit.
That's
what's his
so
name?
goddamn specific. The nerd with glasses.
That's
does
his
the
fucking.
reviews.
That's his
Isn't
YouTube
that everybody
channel.
we know, Tom?
I'm the nerd with glasses.
That's actually his fucking YouTube channel, or it used to be his. It's Planet. What the fuck is his name?
Wait a minute, nerd glasses.
Oh my
Is it
gosh.
Gary?
No, but Gary would do a good job.
They could just put makeup on his beard and shape it any way they want. Then he could look like
God
anyone.
damn it!
Just
I can't think of the
Gary
guy.
Oldman.
Their shit fell apart a while back here. Planet Awesome or whatever the fuck it is. Oh shit! What's his name?
Now I would assume that you're going to need a young Al
Channel
Yankovic,
Awesome.
and then
Doug
eventually...
from Channel Awesome. Jesus Christ, the nostalgia critic.
You know, I got a good question here.
Yeah, Jesus.
Weird Al Yankovic
Doug
aged
Walker.
today in the last 40 fucking years. Why isn't Weird Al just playing Weird Al?
This is a very good point.
He doesn't have any wrinkles on his freaking face. They don't even need to de-age his ass.
But like, anyway, yeah. So Doug Walker sounds and looks a lot like him. I hate him as a person. Like, as far as like whatever, I don't really hate him. I just have nothing. I don't really have any love for him.
Is that
either.
the guy that's always bitching and complaining? That guy?
Yeah.
No. Oh, okay. Maybe.
The nostalgia critic.
Okay, I know you're talking about. Maybe. Yeah, I can
Did
see
you
that.
really just say this, David Rayner? I hope you're kidding.
Who the fuck is Weird Al? What?
Yeah.
What?
I
have an
He's a-
interesting
he's a
story.
lot
that
of
just
things.
happened.
He's
maybe
an
Andrew
architect.
Garfield or somebody like that. I don't know. Come on, kids, help us out here. Who would play a good Weird Al? I know. Well, they're not going to.
Why not?
Because he's 80. Well, anyway, let's read this.
It doesn't matter.
Daniel Radcliffe has been tapped to play the musician Weird Al Yankovic in the Weird Al Yankovic Story, a Roku original biopic from Funny or Die and Tango that will be available for streaming exclusively on the Roku channel. So fire up that Surfshark, kids. Yankovic and Eric Appel penned the feature, with the latter Funny or Die alum set to direct after helming a short film of the same name for the pre-production company back in 2010. Production will kick off in Los Angeles early next month. Oh, so they're already gearing up to begin shooting. Known for pastiching and parodying works of his musical contemporaries, Yankovic is the biggest selling comedy record artist of all time, a 5-time Grammy-winning artist. His 2014 release, Mandatory Fun, was the first comedy album in history to debut at #1 in the Billboard Top 200. The Yankovic biopic promises to hold nothing back and explore every facet of his life, from his childhood through his meteoric rise to fame and his early hits like Eat It and Like a Surgeon, while touching on his torrid celebrity love affairs and famously depraved lifestyle. What celebrity love affairs and depraved lifestyle?
I've never heard of such a thing of Weird Al. He's always supposed to be like...
He's so fucking straight edge. Have you ever seen his VH1 Behind the Music? It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like there's bitches just like rubbing titties on the window, and he's just like...
Well, not just that. They get to the one part and it's like, and then when we return, tragedy struck. My next album didn't sell as many as my last album.
But then the album after that was fine.
Like the most serious thing that has ever really happened in Weird Al's life, besides UHF bombing at the box office, was when he lost both his parents at the same time. So like,
That's
outside of that, like, I mean, what else can you really do as far as like dramatic wise?
Oh,
Just make it
Homeboy's on
goofy and
Scooby Doo.
funny.
He's immortal now.
That's what I'm saying. Russell Brand might not be a bad, but he's
Oh,
almost the
that's
same
where
age.
to go.
Is he
Yes,
too hip?
Brian
He's a
Barth.
little too hip.
No, but Brian Barth is on point. Russell Brand's perfect.
The look is right, definitely.
And
Efren
this should
Zorlan
be the
says
title of the.
But Russell
the
Brand's too smooth, I think.
I hope this is the title, Fanto. That makes sense if it was.
Dare to be stupid.
Well, it was probably his biggest album too, outside of the original. Anyway. Nelson Sharita says Harry Potter is Weird Al. Take my money. Well, Nelson Sharita's on board, so and no.
Well, once again, I like Daniel Radcliffe. I think he's a good actor, and if somebody's going to play Weird Al, I mean, it might as well be him because they're going to pick somebody who doesn't look like him anyway. But I'm still on board with Al playing Al.
I would
like
there is no way that could happen. That would be like
Robert Downey Jr. got de-aged.
Dude,
you'd
Here's have to.
It's not like Weird Al's the best actor. Have you seen UHF?
But that's precise. But the movie is about him, though.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he should play himself per se.
It's not going to retroactively make him look like he was like some dashing individual. No, he's a goofball.
Well, he's 63, weird. and I believe Marx is right here, especially if you're going to get into Eat It and all that stuff. It's probably going to start when he was in college, and he started college before he was 18, actually.
Yeah, he's a smart bastard.
Yeah, and then he got famous pretty young. I want to say he was like 19, 20 or whatever when he recorded the song for Dr. Demento, somewhere in there. Yeah, it's a Roku exclusive, it looks like, Shoe.
I'm curious, what is he worth? Probably a lot.
Oh, probably in the...
I'd say 60 million.
Millions. Yeah, I was going to say at least.
I can find out. Stand by.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, he's only got like 20 albums.
Yeah, right. The Yankovic... Oh, we read all this already. When Al first sat me down against my will and told me his life story, I didn't believe any of it, admitted Appel. Obviously, he's trying to be funny. But I knew that we had to make a movie about it. When my last movie, UHF, came out in '89, I made a solemn vow to my fans that I would release a major motion picture every 33 years, like clockwork. I'm very happy to say we're on schedule. And I'm absolutely thrilled that Daniel Radcliffe will be portraying me in the film. I have no doubt whatsoever that this is the role future generations will remember him for.
Well, yeah.
He's clearly like
he ain't joking.
He is too joking. It is too much.
There's lots of jokes, but that ain't one of them.
Maybe not to you.
It's going to be bigger than Harry Potter.
It's going to be bigger than Harry Potter. Yes, on the Roku network.
Yes.
And then he goes on. There clearly aren't enough movies about famous musicians. We were excited to shine a light on the incredibly true, unexaggerated story of Weird Al. So in other words, it's going to be Weird Al probably telling his own story, but it's going to be exaggerated and goofy. I'm willing to bet. I'm thinking like Man on the Moon times 10.
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
That would be my guess.
18 million.
Yeah, well, not as much as I thought he'd be worth.
I'm surprised he's not worth more than that.
Yeah, me too.
He should be, but obviously some misguided investments and a lack of long-term financial retirement planning seem to have hampered that number.
Well, you'd think he'd be smart enough to do it for himself.
I mean, he is weird. Get it?
Yeah, I know, but joking aside, he's very smart, like extremely smart.
Yeah, he's an architect. He's got a fallback plan.
I would think he would understand some standard investments, but wonder if he got a shit deal and he just never got himself out of it. Because he should like own the fucking record company that he was like.
He did spend a lot of money on fat suits.
He is a vegan too. That shit's not cheap.
Yeah, you got to eat a lot of vegetables because you're supposed to be eating meat.
Right. So then they just go on to talk about just more about Al and all that kind of stuff. And of course and then a little bit about Radcliffe. But we're all Al fans here, right? I'd assume. I don't know about Mike.
Oh yeah, word crime should be shown in schools.
So my sister, I'm a fan, not the biggest, but my sister, the way I found out about this story, besides when I was browsing online about 4 or 5 hours ago, my sister comes by the house and says, "Oh my God, did you hear the news about Weird Al?" She is the biggest fan on the planet.
Good.
She owns everything. She knows his whole life story. She's got T-shirts, posters. My sister's like, I love this guy for like a billion years.
Does she know anything about these wild, sordid affairs and
If
the
there's any news or
debauchery?
gossip out there, she would know. She's not here right now, but she would know it. She knows everything about this guy.
Well, that's right. He's the king, number one. He's got monogram Kleenex by the ton.
And tell you this much: there's no way to make this story when they film it woke.
I don't think it's going to be as. That's the thing. Al's never been a lurid guy. He's never been a drug addict. He's never had like bunches of women. He got married. I think he's got a couple kids. He's a vegan. He's like, I just,
excellent accordion player.
Yeah, like I mean, I can imagine really they're gonna have to ham it up quite a bit. Because like that was kind of the whole point I was getting to before about the whole VH1 behind the music. It was like pretty straightforward and boring because
Yeah, like it's gonna be like after I left college, I got addicted to smack.
yeah, not.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
I mean, what? He consistently had a career even though everybody told him he was a flash in the pan from the start. I mean, that's really kind of
Here's
gonna
another
be
one.
the
How many
main through line.
How many musical artists, Tom, came and went while this guy was still churning and burning hits year after every other year after every other year?
Made more money on Amish Paradise than Coolio made on Gangster's Paradise.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at is like, you know, like really it's just like everybody kept telling him early on, you know, he was a novelty. He's a flash in the pan. He's never going to last, you know, but next thing you know, he just comes out with an album every couple of years and he just kept going and going and going. And you're right. Like Mike, it was like, you know, even famously, Kurt Cobain said they knew that Nirvana had made it when they got the phone call from Weird Al to do Smells Like Teen Spirit, right? Like that to them signified now we've made it. You know, being on MTV, all that other business didn't really feel real. Like Weird Al calling you and saying, yeah, I'm going to do a parody of your song if that's cool with you know.
Yeah, and I think Tom, that's because he's a barometer of pop culture. Like literally, like by the time he chooses to make a song out, you know, make his song, he's basically almost like blessing that, hey, whatever track you had, it means so much to pop culture across the board that hey, it's worth doing. And they, I mean, dude, I mean,
even like everybody was all about that song "Happy," and he made that into "I'm Tacky."
Yeah, which I fucking love that jam.
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, and you're right. There's times where most of the time his songs will live on a lot longer than the originals, especially for the one.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
But no, I mean he's only been turned down by 3 artists in history. That's why I say Coolio's full of shit. Coolio went and lied on his ass. But
yeah, you know how artists love to turn down free advertising, you know?
Who are the
do you know the 3 artists who turned him down?
Who?
Well, one was Prince.
That's understandable. He's really anal. Was.
And then Paul McCartney.
You notice the second that Prince died, suddenly all of his music was available on YouTube?
Yep. Because his estate was going to cash in on that shits.
Fuck yeah.
And then the third one, I believe, was Michael Jackson when he said he couldn't do one of his other songs. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, I love that old story Paul McCartney told. He was like, I told Michael that he should buy up music rights. And then the next day he's like, hi, Paul. Yeah, I took your advice. I bought the Beatles.
Well, it's like, a little
you bought my music?
Because he kept joking with him and he thought he was kidding, or he thought he was joking. He was like, I'm going to buy your music.
I'm going to buy all your songs, Paul.
Yeah, he kept telling him that, and then he ended up doing it. Action Cam says, what if they go to Confessions of a Dangerous Mind route? Weird Al actually a CIA assassin all the time? Well, I could see them doing like
they can work that right in. That's
like
not a
goofing,
problem.
Having fun with it for sure.
There's gonna be so many non sequiturs in this movie.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah. Like I can see it like going off on like, you know, Al just trying to make it more entertaining because like I said, I mean his life is pretty straightforward. Hey Saggy. Because you know, he went to school. He got famous by doing the song for Dr. Demento, did his album, did more albums, did the movie.
Now, was the first one My Bologna, or was that later?
No, that was a little bit later. His first song was Another One Rides the Bus.
Was it? Okay.
Yep. Even the version that's on the album is the original recording he did in the bathroom.
Yeah, that I know. But I had the order wrong.
But no, that's on the first album, though. You're right.
Yeah, I thought it was the other one first.
John Penn says they need Nick Cage to play him. Nick Cage could play anything.
Dude. Not lying. They should have Nicolas Cage play in a biographical movie about Gary Oldman.
I'm more of an
Then have
accordion
Gary
protector.
Oldman play Nick Cage. Face Off.
The theme from Rocky 13, yeah. Baton Week, what a disgrace.
Gotta take Metamucil.
All right, well, so next bit of business. So looking forward to that. Like I said, get your Surfshark ready since it's going to be on Roku TV.
Woohoo.
What the fuck is going on with Activision here, Jesse?
Oh, they used to be an amazing company full of vibrancy and goodness. And now they're bought and sold. What happened was that a couple of years ago, they valued Activision Blizzard because Blizzard used to be a company and then that got absorbed by Activision. It was valued at like 18 point something million dollars or something, but it just sold for like $78 million to Microsoft. So now that's dead. But the reason that this is terrible is because originally, way back in 1979, back in 19 diggity doo, there was Atari and they were making a lot of money, right? So they had a president who was like a bureaucrat and he didn't get gaming. He was just like, businessman. So he told the programmers when they asked for more money, because they were making like 30 grand a year each. Meanwhile, the company's making 100 million. He told them that they were no more integral to the creative aspects of the making the game than the guys who assemble it on the line. So top 4 of them leave. They get a lawyer. Lawyer tells them everything's looking good. You might be able to take this and move forward with it and make things for the Atari with a different programming set. So what they did was this lawyer hooked them up with another guy who was an investor. And they came together. The 5 of them made Activision. Activision means active television. And Activision was made in 83. And the rest is really history. But the reason it's all so important is because it was the gaming culture itself in one story, because it was the bureaucrat that comes in, tries to crush your creativity. And then you got these guys who are your top dogs. They leave, they make the new company. And the thing that they did immediately was they were the first company to ever give all of the programmers credits, and they would even write it on the boxes. So then they were also the very first third-party software producer.
It's 70 billion, by the way.
70 billion. So it must have been 18 billion before. But still, that's like almost 4 times what they claimed the company was worth. So they really just got bought out. So a sellout, buyout.
Yeah, that stuff's way over my head. I don't know if you know anything about that kind of stuff, Mike, but...
Well, I mean...
They drove a dump truck full of money up to their house.
Yeah, I think this is really, really bad. The best take I've seen on this all day has been Culture Casino, his video.
Yeah, that's what I woke up to. I was like, oh, this is not good.
I mean, his video like points on nails it on the head. I mean, my history in gaming. I mean, these guys have control of Call of Duty. There's so many titles that this company has control of. I literally just sighed when I heard this news, because when a big company takes over something we love, bad things ensue, good things never happen. My gaming career goes back to like let's say the 2000s. Man, like 2000 to 2006, I was running 200-man LAN live event parties that me and 2 buddies.
That's a pain in the ass.
With 3 of us, we did them like in hotels. Like we rented out ballrooms, 200-man LAN events. We had sponsors like Logitech and all stuff. We're running all kinds of different games. And and tournaments and all that stuff. We would go 3 days. We'd start on a Friday and on a Sunday. And what was great about gaming culture, back from the early 2000s going into I mean, really, it's been a great run. But then right around 2013, 15, and then certainly the last 5 years, the bigger these companies get, the worse is the product that we get as consumers, because what's happening is they're not treating us as gamers anymore, Jesse. They're treating us as consumers. Like, look at all the releases that have come out in the last few years where they give us shit that doesn't work. They give us patches they give us releases, and then the patches take longer to download and install and configure than the damn ass release does, right?
Yeah, because what really happens, it's like people out on the outside who don't pay attention to those type of companies, they think these guys could just send out the next games. Like a Call of Duty. That's why people make jokes that Call of Duty doesn't change year to year. Yeah, well, that's because they don't have any time to do that. Like these games, they get released when they're what they term shippable. Okay? Shippable. Did I say functioning? No, I said shippable.
Right.
Because they can patch it later when people find out shit. Because they would have to play these games for literally hundreds of hours and do random things until they found out all these bugs that the community finds, because there's millions of people in the community. So then they could patch them. But,
Billy D makes a great point in the chat. He says, talking about Crash Bandicoot was a PlayStation game, now they're an Xbox exclusive. Sandy Mellons, she makes a great point. Saggy, you're right. They have been highlight stuff. No, I'm not logged in that way right now. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'm not on my home PC. But Saggy mentions a comment that they have been treating us as consumers for a long time, where like they're force feeding us. And Saggy's a huge gamer. I mean, she's had some awesome streams lately. The thing is that it's like we're just supposed to eat shit and enjoy the shit they give us and be patient. I'm like, why don't release dates matter? And the thing about gaming is that when these guys were building a lot of these titles, like when Jesse talks about the history of gaming in the beginning, you have people with a passion who are creative artists and they're technically brilliant, and they give us something that's amazing. Now amazing is few and far between. And I just, you take a look at you take a big ass corporation. There's no way that Microsoft Corporation Global is going to know what to do with all of these titles. They're just going to get eaten up, sit on the shelf. I mean, for example, Call of Duty, because I've been a Call of Duty guy for effing 2 decades now, right? So, I mean, take a look at the Call of Duty. I mean, I know people have enjoyed the latest releases, but there's nothing new and innovative. Not really. I mean, not really. I mean, have I bought them all? Sure. Have I played them all? Sure. It's just very disappointing.
Yeah, seriously, since I used to play Call of Duty Black Ops a lot.
Right.
And the only one that seems like it's interesting to me is Cold War because of the story. Right, because they went in with that dank story. But usually Call of Duty, it's like you do the same levels over and over again until you get golden guns, and you just do the same levels over and over again with golden guns. I called that shit. I called that shit the night that movie came out.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Chef, she was there.
I didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
No, but it's like you want, like, everybody wants GTA 6. Well, I got news for you. If you get GTA 6 pumped out to you just to make you happy, you ain't gonna be happy. And that's why they don't say shit about it. They'll release it when they're goddamn well ready to.
Yeah,
because they're not forced to release.
What are we going to get? Anywhere. More watered down programs, more watered down gamings?
I want more in-depth gaming.
The women in our games are going to look like men or questionable. The guys are going to look wimpy and weird. I mean, these companies all have these ESG scores. Microsoft's the last company on the planet that should be buying Activision. And here's what pisses me off.
Very true.
It's like failures being rewarded, Jesse, amongst that. Like we're getting shit as gamers. Like, I'm sorry to be so passionate, Tom, but it's something that's close to me, right?
No, go ahead, guys, because like this is totally over my head.
Okay, so Jesse, here's what fries me, and people in the chat, bear with me for a second. But what fries me is that here, I mean, I'm about as gamer guy as a gamer could go. Okay, maybe I don't own a Switch, but I got a fully loaded PC, a dedicated PC for PC gaming. I got a PS5, I got my Xbox. I've got all my platforms and mediums, and I've gotten less and less quality good stuff in the last 5 years than ever. And what pisses me off today with this announcement is that if you look at the price they paid per stock share, It's like they got a 30-40%, it might even be 45% premium, because this is a company, Activision is a company that wasn't well managed. It's like, when you take a company that's busted, we want another company that's creative, that understands gamers, understands us,
Enter
understands what we
Blizzard.
need.
That's why they took Blizzard back in the day.
Dude, it's
See, because what happened with
I'm-
Activision is that all through the 80s they got sued. They got the pants sued out from the entire time they were making all this goddamn money. Because like someone said in the chat before, I think it was D. Bud Martin, said they made the best Atari games. Well, that's because they were the best Atari programmers. So they made another script set that they could make function with the Atari without using any of the Atari's programming. So that's why their games were so good. They understood it inside and out. It wasn't like, oh, they sent us a dev kit, let's figure this out. It's like, no, we built the system. But then in the late 80s, I want to say 89-ish, they started going real downhill. They won a lawsuit or something, but then they started going downhill. And then late 90s, some other dude came in and bought up the company when it was like 50 cents a stock share. And he reinvigorated it. And that's when World of Warcraft came out and they acquired Blizzard. Then they acquired Treyarch. That's how they got Call of Duty. They got somebody else under their umbrella. Oh, then they got BioWare? Was the other big one they got? And it's like Activision used to be the big boys, the OGs, and they would be the one who would be buying up the other companies to grow. And now they're bought out by who? Corporate. Just corporate. They're bought out by corporate. So now we have corporate gaming over at Xbox.
Couple more comments in the chat. Ironcaster says, and now look at the retro gaming boom. People want the older games because they are better products that are finished. Sure, the graphics aren't as good, but they are more polished. And that's true in terms of storytelling. Don't you think so, bro?
Yeah, storytelling, definitely. Because it's like, look at storytelling. Look at the original games. We were just typing shit on a screen.
Right. Oh, Medieval Man. That was a great quote, Tom.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I missed
that
it.
like engulfed people for weeks. Right? So now you got some game where I always complain that I don't buy a lot of games because it's like ESO is a little guilty of this, but like most games just look like a bunch of flashing light that doesn't make sense. And aliens that have like weird character design, so they all kind of look the same. They don't really look like anything, and it gets boring very quickly. And
that comment with Medieval Man, do you agree? I mean, he makes a good point. I think what we're heading for another gaming crash like the 80s. The good news is this time we have a massive indie movement that can have gaming rebound faster than last time. I think what concerns me, Medieval, is that when you have some of these big ass software gaming companies that are controlled by these corporate conglomerates, and the more that they're controlled and tied to the actual gaming device, in this case Xbox or PS5, that's like market. I don't know. To me, there's some, monopoly.
Dude, you just hit the nail on the head, dude, because Activision left Atari because of this. Now they're going to Microsoft, which is the same fucking thing. They basically might as well have gone back to Atari and never been a company. Like, what the hell?
Yep, exactly. It's so frustrating.
It is frustrating and it's stupid, but it's all about they drove a dump truck full of money up to my house. It was apparently culture said it was a cash deal.
Yeah, I wish he was here. He's got the link.
This and that. It's like, here's a dump truck full of money. Would you like to sell Activision?
Hopefully he hops in. Let's get to these super chats because there's some about Al and there's some on the current subject here. So we'll start with this one. Planner Aspect says Blizzard was allowed to operate independently until its CEO wasted millions on Project Titan, a game that never released. It's been downhill since. Yep. Yeah, those kind of things can destroy a company, that's for sure.
But now, like Mikey was saying before, was it in the comment about the indie companies? Yeah, it was in the comment. But like Friday 13th was a big deal because it was made crowdfunded and it became popular. Now that company is actually working on part of that company. There was like 3 companies involved, but one of them is making the new Ghostbusters game. That's fucking huge. Indie company got Ghostbusters. Why didn't EA get Ghostbusters? Why didn't X, Y, and Z get Ghostbusters? They gave it to an indie company. Times are changing. The competition is going to come back. Problem is that once you're going to have a competition between all these small fries with this big fucking eye above Mordor staring down at you from Microsoft. And the second your company wins amongst all the other little peon companies, you're going to get bought up by asshole, where you're going to be like the one guy facing down and trying to bring the ring into the lava pit.
Yep. I agree. That's a great analogy.
It's a mess. It's a fucking mess. I don't know why monopoly law isn't called in here. Like, at what point do you become a monopoly? Monopoly is like such a.
Well, it's gonna go. It's gonna go through that review. I mean, from a financial standpoint, the capital markets are gonna require. But dude, it's Microsoft. They're so bought in and dialed in, and
yeah. But is there a legal? What's the legal definition of monopoly?
Well, that's the problem. That's where I was gonna go, because what are they gonna say? They're gonna say, well, we got these games, they got that games, and there's some other games. We're just picking up some titles and properties. I mean, look, dude, it's like if Disney could buy Fox, then this. I mean, that's the other astounding thing. You're talking about this company being bought for $7 billion. Let's keep in mind, Disney got Star Wars for $5 billion and trashed it. What's going to happen at $70 billion? They're going to trash everything. There's no way that this is good for any of us. No way.
I don't know, man.
I mean, we're still by the. I mean, I don't.
Well, the thing is that they're competition breeds innovation, which makes everything better, right? I would say.
Yeah,
but now they want to go back to everything being basically in-house. Everything is owned. It's just
proprietary.
It's not good. Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that Microsoft is gonna. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just so frustrated.
Let's face it. Like, even back on PlayStation 3 and the old Xbox, whatever the current system was at the time, like, I would play on my PlayStation, go over to a friend's house, and he would put the same game on his Xbox, and it looked cartoony to me. I mean, I really think as far as consoles go, we have a mirror going on with the NES being the one everybody actually wants, and then you have the Atari 7800, which is a little cheaper, more readily available. Same shit, different day.
Maybe. I'm just so frustrated, bro, because I feel like we get nickeled. We get products. We buy something that's not ready. We have to patch it. But the difference between the release date and when the damn thing actually works could be anywhere from days, weeks, or months. Okay. And then on so many of these games, depending whether they're mobile or not, we get nickel and dimed all the way through as we're trying to play and get through this damn game. And we can't even have a full experience. If you're on a budget, I mean, I'm not on a budget. My kid's not on a budget, okay? But there's a lot of friends of mine and gamers that I know that are on a budget, and your entire gaming experience isn't so much mitigated by your commitment to the game or your quality or your skill set, but like how fast you want to level up depending on what you're going to buy along the way and what options you're going to pick up. I'm just sick and tired of being
precisely correct, Mikey, because right now I've kind of dragged everybody into Elder Scrolls, right? That's a Bethesda game. Now, I went through and I had half of the DLCs already. The DLCs are overpriced. Gonna say it. Okay. They're hard for people. You can't get everybody down on the same fucking page because you never know who's got what DLC. They sell them in different packs, blah, 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 blah. And I had half of them. I added up how much it would take to buy the rest of them. It was $125. Fuck it. I bought it. Today, like, because everybody's getting in a group together, I'm making a guild, right? So I made my house the guild house. So I want to put the workstations in there. That was another, what was it? $250. Mm-hmm. But I bought it, but not everybody could do that. Like, it's fucked up. It's definitely a wall. And it's like you were saying, like, that goes back to freemium isn't free, but like the level, if you could level up faster in a video game by paying money, that's wrong. But like, if you could buy add-ons that are just nice to have, I don't see that as wrong. I just see that they're really gouging people on the prices and everything.
Yeah, and you know what? They're throwing all this money around, buying these different properties, trying to consolidate. And in the end, it's just like government, it's just like big corporations. At the end of the day, they're going to try to bleed us out and suck it out from us to pay for their bad decision making and for their lack of performance. It just sickens me that even the CEO, he's walking away with what? I can't remember the press release. It's either 230 million or 320 million walking away. This guy who mismanaged Activision because of his stock option payout.
Now, do you remember what his name was? Because was it the same guy who came and brought him back a little bit in the late 90s, or was it?
Stand by, I'll go get it. Talk amongst yourselves.
Because
that's all right. I'm going to grab these super chats. Yeah,
I want to say somewhere around 2008 or 2010 or somewhere in that area, they got the leadership all changed again. But none of the original, like, basically four horsemen were ever in that company after the 90s.
Jack the Outcast sends in $20 and says, "Downfall of AAA gaming. Horse armor in Oblivion, day one patches, season pass, microtransactions. loot boxes, esports, unfinished games, roadmap to a finished game, a roadmap to the roadmap to a finished game. Yeah, exactly, Jack. And that's
And
like I
then,
just
of
don't
course,
understand that shit. Yeah.
you get something like Grand Theft Auto Online, where they're like, okay, well, here's another DLC. Well, why should we make a new game when people like the DLC content? So they keep buying shark cards because of the DLC content. So it's just money printer go burr. And
See, I'm surprised that sports games haven't gone that route yet, right? Like, because I don't see the point in buying a brand new fucking Madden game every year when there's really not much of a difference in each one of them, right? The only difference is the roster, and they'll try to throw something in once in a while. Generally, they end up taking something away that I like.
well, here's
Right.
an idea that's actually a moneymaker. You know how people are obsessed about their fantasy football teams? Now imagine if your Madden team, right? Your in-game currency, you could bet other players with your in-game currency. Then you could watch shit go haywire and people be buying shit left and right. Because then people buy more to bet with, because you could buy things to gamble with online in games as long as you cannot redeem that for actual money again. It's only could come back to you in in-game currency. So if you made it where they could be overly competitive assholes with everybody else, then you would just be making dump trucks of money.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Jack, and I agree. Professor Gray says they don't have to innovate. People will just keep buying crap over and over again. This is why I never buy a game until at least a year has passed. Yeah, I don't blame you.
That's a good idea.
I usually wait until it's the ultimate edition where it has all the packs and I don't have to worry about downloading stuff and updates and all that business. And yeah,
It's like,
But I
how
don't
long
really
have
play
they
a
had
lot
the
of games
VR
anymore.
headsets out? I haven't bought one of those. Mikey, you got a VR
I
headset?
got a VR headset.
Hell
but
yeah, I
you
got a
bought
VR
one?
headset. I
Is
got
it worth it?
Yeah, I like it.
dude. I love my VR. Are you kidding?
Is it good?
I love it.
I use it for
got
more
it
than
with,
just gaming, though.
I
What do
have
you guys have?
I play Vader on my PS5.
Yeah, but
You
do
know-
you
you
have
know I'm
like
a
a
lightsaber guy.
PS5 VR headset, or what do you
Yeah.
buy?
Yes.
Now the
And
PS5.
Tom, is that the same one you have?
I got the PS4 one. I don't know if they're compatible, but
Probably not.
yeah. So I got the PS4
New controllers.
one, but yeah, I don't know.
So with this PS5 one, how much does it trick you? And
I
how
think
good
it
does
cost
it actually
me.
look?
I got it with a couple games when I bought it. I bought this back like when I got the PS5 back in May, June. I think it was like $349 or something like that.
See, I've been avoiding
That's not
VR late
bad.
to
I paid
play
twice
because it's
that
one
for
of
the
those
PS4
things where
one.
it's like, you're not going to power glove me.
Yeah, well, I also got two. Well, I'm not even.
You know.
I got two PS5s at the time. See, I was a GameStop freaking gold. I got it. I got my name in early, so I got a whole bundle for a good price. And I got two PS5s, and I gave one to my buddy for
Nice.
a discount back in May.
Then going back to the Weird Al story, Nelson Tree says the story of Weird Al's cocaine and love child with Madonna.
Yeah, right.
Doubtful.
He did write a song called The White Stuff.
I know. Gino X 1987 says, "What if Weird Al movies we keep getting different actors playing him, like Tom Cruise shifting to Leslie Jones as well as Al telling events?
That'd be great.
That's not a horrible idea. They did a Bob Dylan movie like that.
You could literally have anybody in there and it'll be funny.
I think that'd be kind of hilarious, actually. That'd be kind of funny. I'd actually
Very
want to see
creative.
Leslie Jones in something for once, right?
Yeah, right. Well, who's she playing? Weird Al Yankovic?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm listening. Hey, for real.
I think you could have some fun with that. But yeah, we had another super chat on the gaming business here. Where'd it go, Jaime? Mecha J says, I honestly don't see this deal being a good thing for gamers, especially when the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, has recently called for a ban on cross-platform gaming. They want complete control.
And he brings up the other major point. Xbox wants Xbox to be Xbox.
Yep.
And they want to have these games only come out for Xbox, which most of these games in development are being developed for everything. Because the way this works, this is why I don't understand the whole PC master race. Because if you have an Xbox, you have a PlayStation, you have a PC, and now you want to make this game and it's going to run on all these things. What you do is you take the least powerful system and you have to build the game for that system. Everything else is upscaling. Right? Makes sense? Because they're not designing 3 games. they're designing one game that will run on everything based on power level.
Right. So, like, what happens to Halo now in the future?
Halo is only going to be for Xbox.
Right.
But the whole cross-platform thing, not only do they want to keep Xbox, but there's security issues involved. That's why they had to shut down cross-platform play with, or even transfers with GTA, because people on PC could have recovery menus and they could cheat at games. That ruined everything. It's like, yeah, modders want a mod, but you're fucking with people sometimes, like the rest of the community. So that's one reason that they don't have crossplay. But the other reason is pure competition. I mean, technologically speaking, I played plenty of games that were crossplay and they work perfectly fine. Enlisted is one of them. And you could even select consoles only. You could turn it off, then you'll only be going against other people on the same console. Where you could have it everything where it's PC gamers too, but they move really funny. It's like when you're when you're controlling a guy with like a keyboard and a mouse, your guy looks like a fucking weirdo.
Right.
They move in, like they jump in like squares.
Well, there's certain games I play on certain platforms, like Red Dead Redemption. When I was playing all those, that's that I did on my PS. I still play Halo on the Xbox. I mean, there's just certain games I play on certain platforms. So it depends on the game. I don't cross-platform. It depends on the game. That's why like all of my that's why everything goes to the same screen, and I just switch between my PS5, my Xbox, and my PC. So like because I got Flight Simulator. You know what I mean? I like doing Flight Simulator too.
Oh hell yeah!
And
I know a guy who downloads all of those.
And that's obviously on my PC. It's freaking astounding.
Yeah, well, they're basically like real life simulators.
Oh yeah, dude, and I got the full blown throttle and thruster, dude. I got like everything.
Did you?
I have the whole the whole cockpit setup. So I got my throttle stick and I got my engine. So I go right left on that motherfucker. It's awesome.
All right, let me ask you a question.
What?
Gaming chair. Is it just a glorified office chair? Because personally, I think that there's a million other chairs out there that are more.
Bro, I had a gaming chair for the longest time in front that I would use. F that, dude. I got a better office chair that I have in front of that one that goes up and down different heights, and it's got a little footrest. I use architect chairs, and it is so much better on my back. I can go for 3 or 4 hours and not get up. Like usually what I'll do, like in tax season, like I'll go to like 10, 11, 12 o'clock. And then I'll just game for 2 or 3 hours and then go to sleep. Dude, I mean, I've never found gaming chairs as comfortable as office chairs. But then what do I know? I just, I mean, it depends. You got to get a really good gaming chair. I just got,
I have an office chair. That the gaming chair is more for sitting and doing live streaming with. Or
that's what I use my gaming chair
for.
That's what I use.
But if you're in front of a large TV or something, there's any other chair that's comfy. A lazy boy would be better.
Yeah. So like when you guys see me streaming, like when I have Gone Camera on, you'll see like I have a gaming chair when I live stream at my desk, but when I'm gaming, I don't have my gaming chair. I got an office chair. So, and that's just the way I like it, and it works great and super comfy.
And those footrests that come out of the gaming chairs, they're bunk.
Yeah.
I could see it working for like 100-pound chick or something, but not a dude.
Definitely not for Mexican Iron Man after a burrito or taco dinner. I'll tell you that much. We need some steel reinforcement on that.
Yeah, is this a slight calf support? What is this thing?
Professor Gray sends in $2 and says PC gaming has been held back forever by consoles. You're not wrong on that. I know that.
That's another thing. Let's say that PCs had their games made completely separate. Then what? Where do you draw the line? I mean, do you have to
gets
have
into the compatibility issue we were just talking about? Or you guys
because it's like you could buy this game for PC if you have a $5,000 computer or better.
Well, yeah, and then you have the other side of being able to play with other gamers. But so we'll see how this develops. That's for sure. But I don't really want to talk too much about this. But Whedon spoke out. Some people asked us to get into it a little bit deeper on MEAD since we kind of brushed over it on the main channel the other day. Lord. Given the opportunity to answer allegations of grievances, misbehavior, including claims of sexist remarks and racist actions on the set, Joss Whedon copped to affairs, saying he had to have them. Okay. And situations he should have handled better in his personal life, but disputed claims from the likes of Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher and others, he dismissed Fisher's claims as those of a bad actor. In Godot's case, he suggested the Israeli actor had misunderstood him because English is not her first language.
Wow, really? That's what he's going with?
Yeah, can we get should have just kept his fucking mouth shut for 500 fucking Alex, please?
Yeah, for real. It's like you say some shit to somebody, then you're like, oh, it's because she don't speak English too good.
Like, I don't even know
Great
if that's
job.
like what do you like? She's got an Israeli accent. Like, what kind of ist is that?
She's married
he's
to a
trying to
billionaire. I
say
think she's
that-
probably better educated than he
Okay.
is.
For context, that's in response to his whole "I'll end your career" thing that she said he said, which his response is kind of like, how could I do that kind of thing? Which he's not wrong, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you didn't fucking say it, you dumbass.
Is that how she ended up doing Wonder Woman 84? Was that the method to ruin her career?
I see what you're saying there. Oh, we got a member chat here from Cardinal Sin, who says, "Hail Midnight's Edge, Mexican Iron Man, and Jesse Miller. Hail to the mods and to the chat. This is where you get the real deal." Oh, you got some drugs? What?
What?
No.
Oh no.
It's possible.
I'm go.
All right, I'll keep reading this. And an extensive New York Magazine profile. I didn't even want to get into that. Like, I was going to do that. And I'm like, no, let's just do the short version. Sorry. By Leela Shapiro. Whedon offered his first detailed public responses to the negative reports, which began arising in the summer of 2020 and have encompassed not just the disastrous Justice League film, but also Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the television show that made him famous. Ray Fisher, whose Justice League role has a superhero cyborg, was drastically reduced when the film director took the reins from. We all know this shit, so why am I reading it? Among Fisher's claims, a ratio of people of color. Fisher told Forbes race was just one of the issues.
Once again, check.
Hashtag your DC, your Justice League movie sucked. Hashtag.
Yeah.
You know what? You know who needs to go hang
This
out
doesn't
with?
even have any of his responses in it. Doesn't look like.
Well,
Okay, here we go.
This dude needs to just bitch out already and just reboot Buffy and call it a reboot. Cool.
Quotes Whedon's response. Okay, here we go. Here's the Gal Gadot thing. Okay. Gadot, who has played Wonder Woman in several DC movies, told Israeli outlet N12 that Whedon kind of threatened my career. Okay, so she says kind of threatened, and said that if I did something, he would make my career miserable. I was shaking trees as soon as it happened, and I must say that heads of Warner Brothers, they took care of it. Going back to the sense of righteous that I have, I just did what I felt like I had to do, and it was to tell people that it's not okay. So see, she addressed it, and Warner Brothers dealt with it, obviously.
She should have just kicked his ass. She knows Taekwondo.
The New York profile quotes Whedon's response to the claim is, "I don't threaten people. Who does that?" He concluded she had misunderstood him. English is not her first language, and I tend to be annoying flowery in my speech. He recalled arguing over a scene she wanted cut. He told her jokingly that if that's what she wanted He told her jokingly that if she wanted to get rid of it, she would have to tie him to a railroad track and do it over his dead body. Then I was told that I said something about her dead body and tying her to the railroad track, he said. Godot did not agree with Whedon's version of event. I understand perfectly. I have a hard time believing Whedon would say that kind of shit to her.
Sounds made up. Sounds made up. What did she say?
Never underestimate the attitude and the words that'll come out of the mouth of an egotistical director that thinks he's better than anybody on the set.
Yeah, what you got to do, Tom, is reread it.
Okay, here's my point. It's Godot's version
over my dead body.
Okay, here's the problem we have here. Whedon's version actually has context, and I understand what he's saying. She wanted the scene cut. He said, "Over my dead body," basically. The way she is saying it was, here's her quote. Then I was told if I had something that I had said something about her dead body and tying her to the railroad track. He said, okay, so that's where I don't know what Godot said on that part. Okay, so that's his quote.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
need the other side here.
I don't know what she's. Well, go to her fucking thing here.
Yeah, as long as we know that, we don't know who's full of shit.
He kind of threatened my career and said if I did something, he would make my career miserable, and I just took care of it. Okay, we read that already. She doesn't have any. Well, I don't know why the hell. Okay, unless they reached out to her.
This feels like two events that affected each other.
Well, not only that, I'd like to know where they're saying that she's saying a different version of the. Godot did not agree with Whedon's version of events. I understood perfectly. She told, yeah, but that's not saying that that's what was said. Like, no, we're not getting the other side of the story here. Anyway, profile didn't specify.
You're reading propaganda.
But there has been reports that Godot refused to shoot the sexual gag, which flash as Ramilla lands on her body suggestively. In the finished product, Wonder Woman's face is not visible. That moment possibly lending credence to the reports that Whedon resorted to a body double to get the shot done, which is probably what she did. Is she went to Warner and they did that. So and that's all been covered before.
So if I had Gal Gadot in a movie, I'd have a scene in there where she's covered in whipped cream.
The New York profile writer addressed Whedon's claim that he didn't threaten people. An actress on Angel told me that hadn't been true back when she knew him. After her agent pushed for her to get a raise, she claims Whedon called her at home and said she was never going to work for him or 20th Century Fox again. Reading Godot's quote, she said, wow, he's still using that line. Whedon denied this too. Okay.
We got the thing, you can't record phone calls, so who's to say?
Yeah. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good, man. How you doing, Tom? Jesse?
Hanging in there. We're just going through this Whedon stuff.
Oh man,
Nick, I feel that we're close enough that you don't have.
A gem.
I feel that we're close enough that you don't have to refer to me as my first name Mexican. You can call me Mike.
Okay.
We're brothers now, bro.
I call him Mikey.
I feel honored. You're gonna be Mike then. All right.
I don't think he likes it though.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
All right. So anyway, as I was saying here, in the wake of these accusations, Buffy castmates publicly condemned the former boss. Michelle Trachtenberg, who joined the show's cast at 16, said there was a rule that he could not be alone with her. Trachtenberg wrote on an Instagram post in early last year, I am brave enough now as a 35-year-old woman because this must be known as a teenager with his not appropriate behavior, very not appropriate. So now people know what Joss did. Last comment I will make on this was there was a rule saying he's not allowed in a room alone with Michelle again. Whedon says in the profile he knew nothing of this. An unnamed castmate quoted in an article backs Trachtenberg's account, but leaves open the possibility it may have been an informal rule of which Whedon himself was not aware. So that doesn't say that anything necessarily happened. It just said it was a rule on the set, but doesn't really say
because
why.
of me. There's a rule.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't specify why. In the New York piece, Whedon denies many of the charges, though the profile includes quotes from numerous people involved with the show corroborating some reports and making new accusations. One woman, described as high-level member of the Buffy production team, claims Whedon had an actress engaged in romantic activity in her office while she was working, prompting her to leave the production. They were rolling around on the floor making out, says the profile. The woman is quoted saying, they would bang into my chair. These actions proved they had no respect for me and my work. While Whedon denied the rolling on the floor incident, he said of his now documented affairs on the set of Buffy while he was married, I feel fucking terrible about them. It messes up the power dynamic. You think? The New York piece
in my house, when my wife threw me out and tried to take half of my stuff, I'm just so regretful that I got caught.
He quickly added that he had felt that he had to sleep with them, that he was powerless to resist.
I know, right? I feel that, brother.
That's the line that Mexican Iron Man uses, because what I say with the ladies, Tom, is that Mexican Iron Man is the wounded antelope on the Serengeti of love.
Okay, well, no, this is perfect. This is perfect, guys. You know what? This is what's beauty about this. I don't know if anybody else is really picking up on it. I mean, everybody's talked about the whole, like, you know, he's a male feminist and shouldn't be trusted. Well, here's the reason why. And this is why they think the way they do.
Because
Right
he's a
here.
skis bag.
Listen, he says, I was powerless to resist. I was surrounded by beautiful women, the sort of women who had ignored me when I was younger. And I feared that if I didn't have sex with them, I would always regret it. That is why these motherfuckers always think that that's the way you think.
Oh my god.
You
That
fucking
gets my
male
Handy
feminist little
Randy's.
puke.
Oh my god. Dude,
Jesse,
I love this guy now because instead of like making up some bullshit excuse, he just told the truth but acted like he was making an apology.
Right. So he's gonna turn the Me Too thing to hashtag bang me too.
Yeah. Hashtag count it.
Oh my god.
Who else is down on hashtag count it? This is going to grow quickly.
Oh, we got a member chat from Willie Woodward. Thank you, sir. He says, dumb question. Do you think all this consolidation in gaming consoles making things more exclusive that people can go back to arcades since they're cheaper and make more than ever? Oh no, Willie!
God,
I don't think
would love it.
arcades are dead. They're not.
If they did, that would be so sexy though. Could you imagine what they could make now if they really tried?
I would love that, but
It'd be like, here's your virtual reality.
No,
chamber.
it's more about making exclusivity. That's the big thing.
It is, and that's going to kill the market, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think
making
so.
a comeback is arcade games in the home where people are buying stuff and putting it in their house.
Fuck
I mean,
yeah.
I'm actually going to buy one or two of those suckers after tax season.
Mike, I got the company for you that you got to look through.
All right, you'll help me buy that then when the time
Indeed.
comes. The time is not now.
I mean, Joss might as well just said, you know, she was asking for it. She was dressed that way, kind of thing. Like, right? Like,
he might as well just be honest with it and go all the way.
The New York profile is packed with disturbing accounts by women, some 2 decades or more younger than he'd had really. I don't, unless they're
these
underage,
girls 18.
Yeah, that's I don't see why that matters there, but like whatever.
Well, once again, hashtag count it.
Could I have done marriage better? Don't get me started. Could I have been a better showrunner? Absolutely. Should I have been nicer? Writer Shapiro describes him considering the question, then wondering if the problem had to do with being too nice. He decrees the phenomenon of people using every weaponizable word of modern era to make it seem like I was an abusive monster. He said, I think I'm one of the nicer showrunners there's ever been. Now,
he's like, I'm really nice, just completely self-serving.
Look, like, yeah, that's the thing is, again, though,
I don't understand. I wanted it.
I still don't see. Okay, as far as Kryborg's claims, yeah, like the set stuff, that kind of stuff. I believe I still don't see the racism bit, right? Like that's where I think people don't understand because I've had a lot of people go, "Oh, but now this has come out and that's come out, so doesn't that mean that you're wrong about Ray?" It's like, no, I still think Kryborg is making a lot of shit up.
You know, Tom, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I want to add
or at least not
this.
making the shit up, but at least he's seeing things as racist.
He's complicit. I think he's complicit, and not in everything that Joss is doing, but as far as creating the drama element. Because two things can be true: Joss Whedon probably actually is an actual misogynist or an actual sexist, but that doesn't mean that Ray Fisher isn't a drama queen who is trying to stir up his own trouble because he hasn't gotten a job since Justice League besides some one TV show. The guy clearly is irrelevant and he is looking at taking on someone. And let's not forget there was some particular movements going during some riots, remember last summer? So clearly he's wanting to, still try to attempt to cash in on that stuff. And the fact that he calls Jeff Johns a racist, even though Jeff Johns was married to a black woman, like, do you ever ask a black person who would hang out with a racist? I don't know one black man or woman.
Well, and I think that's the bigger
hang out
thing.
with a racist. It's idiotic.
I think that's the bigger thing here is like, jokingly, Middle of a Man says, I'm with you. Stop making me defend Whedon, you idiots. Yeah, like that's the problem is I'm not so much defending Whedon, and I think that's where people are jumping on Ethan Van Sciver. I saw online too. Is he's more defending Jeff Johns.
Yes,
like that's the thing. For one thing, is like, okay, it's one thing to bash Whedon. Whedon's been bashed to the ground. The dude ain't gonna probably fucking work again anytime soon.
Nah.
Speaking of that, what race is he? Because he's like really pink.
I don't know.
He's not Mexican, I can tell
Is
you
he an
that.
alien or something?
He's probably got a lot of
Mike.
German or Irish in him. Probably.
He's got that round head.
Yeah.
If he is
I
Mexican,
don't.
he's
Doesn't
Looks like
matter.
somebody
red
stuck a
as
basketball on top of
he's
his
the
jaw
most
like a Muppet.
red pepper tomato skin Mexican I've ever seen. If he is Mexican,
And I mean, I don't even really have any love for Jeff Johns, but at the same time, like, what did Jeff Johns do to deserve to be
Well, he
called a
didn't do
fucking
anything
racist?
wrong.
Exactly. Like, that's
He's
my problem.
just an online reviewer. What the hell did he do? He reviewed
No, you're thinking
Jeff
of
Johns
Jeff.
is a comic writer.
No. Jeff Johns is the comic book writer, and he was the guy who was he was one of the guys that was in charge for a short period with Berg over at DC.
Mm-hmm.
And then after all this stuff happened, he basically got demoted to television because of it. So that's the other thing is like Jeff Johns didn't really do anything wrong, right? He was just kind of the patsy.
Yeah. No, dude, Jeff Johns was just a guy who happens to work for Warner Bros. Involved with the DC Comics movies. Now, obviously, you can make an argument whether he did or did not do a good job. That's a fair discussion.
What I'm saying is, I think they boasted him like he was going to be their Feige, but they didn't use him. He did not have control.
They didn't use him at
not complete control.
It was obviously wanted that, but I don't think they knew how to do it. Let's not forget though. They weren't trying to play catch up. They were trying to sprint to the finish line because by the time DC was getting started, Marvel had already been done with phase 1. They were sprinting to play catch up, and they thought, oh, we can just do the opposite of what they did, and people will automatically be invested. And obviously, that didn't work out. We all saw how history played out, and those movies didn't work out that way. I mean, Warner Bros. Had so many hands in that pie trying to mess with it, and yet they would claim and boast about how they were director driven. Do you remember those comments, Tom? Way back in the day, they would boast about how they were director driven, yet all this interference is happening. So obviously they were lying. But to be fair, though, Warner Bros. Has had problems for a long time. This dates back even before whatever you want to call this DCEU anymore. Like, Johns is at best, he's a great comic book writer. Maybe you could say he's difficult to work with, maybe, sure, but that doesn't make him a
I don't
racist.
know if he really had any power. That's like Mecha J says. Basically, Johns was used as the face, and he actually had very little control. Yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah, he actually had an actual relationship with the fans, like with my comic shop that I've gone to over the years. Jeff was actually in communication with fans, and that's why fans latched onto him, because he was the closest thing to a big name being one of them per se.
Yeah, and I mean, it was Berg was the other guy, and see, he was I think he had produced like some of the Conjuring movies or something like that. So that's where he got his in, and those two were supposed to be working together, and they got brought in right after Snyder and Affleck had kind of gotten booted from control. That's when Johns and Berg came in, and that's another reason why people hold shit against them. I understand why the Snyder fans feel the way they do and have the people in their crosshairs that they do for the most part, but I believe they're being led astray by Fisher. That's my problem, right? Like, Fisher is throwing way too much garbage in for his own personal bullshit. It's like, I get it, you guys want the Snyderverse, but following Fisher down this road is not going to get there.
Well, now hold on there. See, I'm a hardcore Snyder guy, but I think Ray Fisher's a complete moron, weirdo, and idiot.
No, but
that's good. You see it way, Mike.
But that's the thing, though, Mike, is that there are a lot of people who believe everything that Ray Fisher's saying. Now, here's my point: is half of what Ray is saying is true. The other half, I think, is him just misinterpreting things.
I agree.
And that's where I think the one time in that interview that Whedon was on point, where he was saying where the whole thing was he was hijacked, for this cause. And they hijacked this whole thing with him and Ray Fisher for this cause. And I understand what he's saying there, and he's not wrong. But it doesn't mean here's the thing. I hate sticking up for Whedon, but Whedon shouldn't even be like in the equation of this whole Justice League thing. He was brought in by the studio, right? Like, he was just brought in to do a fucking job, and you had 6 people working against you the entire time, it sounds like, right? So I hate to say I understand where Whedon was probably stressed as fuck, but that does not condone some of the things that he said or did. But at the same time, that does not say that, you know, all the other actors, including Affleck, Godot, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, and anybody else involved weren't just as difficult.
The
Right?
real
Like,
problem at Warner
Well, when
Brothers.
things aren't going well, especially creative people, I mean, everybody gets more
well,
and
we
more
know
pissy
Ben
by the
Affleck was
moment.
on the drinking again for one, so he was probably drunk most of the time.
Trying to
Ezra
hide it.
Miller's choking people.
That guy's wackadoo.
You want to fight?
See, it's like I listen to you guys talk about DC, and I'm a Marvel guy, but like I feel like
Don't even get me started on Amber Turd.
You're choosing between the two options that you've been handed. You know what I mean? And it's like I still think that DC would do better with this completely separate new third option and just like try again.
I agree with you. Probably, I probably agree.
Because
With you. The problem, Jesse, though, is that
it's
the
a mess
real
now.
villains. It's easy to point the fingers at directors because their names are on movies, but in Warner Brothers, the real villains here are the Warner Brother executives that have collected that have made massive money on stock, massive money on bonuses, massive money on salaries, massive money on overrides for projects. And those are the real villains. This is a horrifically managed studio. I mean, they got vice presidents for everything, and not any of them can seem to get their shit together to give us something that's right. And they're so reactive in their decision making, and they're so meddling, and they're
because they don't have a daddy. They don't have
they're
any leadership whatsoever.
They're so against saying, "Well, maybe this isn't working."
Well, it's not so much that
They
they
wanna
are.
meet the feet
They're
and
willing
stuff.
to say something isn't working, but Mike's right. They're too knee-jerk reactionary. And that's because they have no strong leadership. They've been running around like chickens with their heads cut off for the past 5+ years. They've been thinking that AT&T is going to come up and clean up the mess because, you know, they can just write blank checks now. And Naked Fame, I wish I could answer this question for you. I don't know why Ezra Miller is, but he is. And
I think that's a Drax reference.
Who did this guy bang to get to be the Flash? And don't get me wrong, I really don't care who plays the Flash because he's my least favorite character in the entire DC universe. I can't stand the Flash as a character.
But really, that guy, like, you still have that video of him choking a bitch, right?
Yeah, that's from that video, it's me and Nina Infinity's running joke. I'm like, you want to fight?
Yeah, can you imagine having like that guy is the guy you picked to be a superhero? He don't look like no superhero. He looks like I don't know, like somebody's mom that let himself go.
I don't know, dude. He looks like a street dealer didn't show up and he's in a bad mood and he attacked the first person that walked by. That's what I
was that like some really stupid, like expensive coat he was wearing, or was he wearing just like a bathrobe? Because that's what
I don't know,
like.
dude. I don't know. It didn't look like a hero. Then those are not the actions of a hero.
He just seemed like I know.
I mean, I cannot. What? Someone show me a comic book where the Flash looks like anything like Ezra looks like the Flash in any of these freaking movies.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
I would know. I literally own over 100 Flash comics myself. I'm a Barry Allen guy through and through. I own about 100 issues alone, maybe more with Barry Allen, and probably around 20-30 with Wally West as the Flash. And Barry's just he's basically a Steve Rogers, blue-eyed, blonde hair. And then you had Wally West, who was the ginger. And Ezra Miller basically played Wally West, but with the name Barry Allen, because Barry Allen's more of the CSI personality, like even Batman respects Barry Allen, like type of thing. That's how like respected Barry Allen is.
Right.
Wally West is more of like the Dick Grayson type of personality. He's more outgoing. Both are moderately outgoing, but Wally's he's like the outgoing teenager type of kid, except in the adult body. It's almost like the movie Shazam or Big, even. Yeah. So those are what separates the two personalities. I like the concept of the Speed Force. I love, of course, Barry. I like seeing a guy who needs to actually slow down when it comes to solving detective mysteries. That's when the right writer gets involved and does that. You need to be a smart writer. You can't just fuck around and be like, oh, okay, I can rush through it. You really can't. You actually have to think out a mystery story for that. Not many writers capitalize on that element of Barry Allen. And Wally, you don't have to worry about that. So writers have an easier time writing Wally.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The
Warner... Did you want to fight? Is that the deal?
There you go.
I mean, the Warner Brothers execs are such idiots.
Do you want to fight?
If they picked Ezra to be the Flash, I'm surprised that there's not a crossover with the Flash and Speedy Gonzalez at this point.
Hippie, andale.
Well, they broke the
You look like
dimension
a
into
girl,
the
Effie.
second dimension, so they're cartoons now.
Mm.
I'm
That's
embarrassed
it.
to be a
The
speedster.
end.
Yeah, even though I'm not, even though Barry's my Flash, I can understand people who grew up with Wally. I get it, like they grew up with Wally, and I'm still not a fan of what Tom King did to Wally. For those in the chat who know the comics, fuck Tom King.
Can I ask you a question about the Flash?
Yes,
How's he run up walls?
huh?
How's he run up walls? He could run up a building.
He's a speedster.
Yeah, but he doesn't
Friction.
have any friction to keep him on the wall.
Well, with the Speed Force, he that's a whole gravity issue involved in the Speed Force.
So Speed Force just could run everything.
Basically you gotta think of him like a Geico lizard that goes fast. Jesse.
Yes.
A Geico lizard that goes fast.
Yeah.
That's an odd description. Why?
Because he's going fast and it changes. Jesse.
Yeah. That's because if you go fast, there's only certain discernible colors after certain speeds, and then you turn purple, then you go invisible.
Sure, I don't know, but I mean, having a conversation about Flash is like having a conversation about Jon Stewart versus Hal Jordan for me. I can't stand Jon Stewart as a Green Lantern, but whatever. A lot of people
Really?
No, I'm a Hal Jordan guy through.
Okay,
and through.
well that's a fair argument though. I mean, obviously Hal Jordan through and through, but I've always liked Jon Stewart because he kind of balances out Hal's evil personality. He's more of the stoic military.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's like the reliable Eagle Scout of Green Lantern, right?
Yes, and then Hal's kind of like the guy who he drives his bosses crazy with how he gets the work done, but when the job is done, they're not complaining. He just kind of puts them on the edge when he gets things done.
Like when I think of the Ring and Will, I think of Hal Jordan. I don't think of Kyle Rayner. I don't think of Kyle. Alan Scott to me is more of a classic kind of. I don't know. He's more like a representative.
Do you think that's because with him being staunch like that he's relying less upon will most of the time and more on just structure?
Are you talking about Hal?
Wait, what? You mean Jon Stewart?
Yes, with Stewart.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. He's a freaking Eagle Scout. He's like, hey, at this point in the mission, we need a reliable Green Lantern. Jon Stewart, I can do that. I'll do that right now.
That's so accurate.
I can do that. I'll do that right now. Yeah,
but does that stick him at like medium power level for
lanterns? Yeah, you can count on me, team. I'll go over here and I'll just build this. Like, all right, Jon. Okay, you know what, Jon Stewart? If Jon Stewart, he's that reliable worker bee. Hey, we need somebody to go feed the rabbit chickens and harvest the tortillas from the tortilla farm. John, where are you?
This is so accurate. I obviously I get this since I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right, we've derailed the DC conversation on Warner Brothers executives. Bad
because we're actually talking about comic books.
Sorry, Tom. We're nerding. We're
I'm just trying not to make a Daily Show joke.
Honestly, speaking of Warner Brothers and movies, why don't you tell the kids what you're talking about on Toxic Tuesday tonight? Nick.
Demolition Man, bro. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be fantastic. And I was just getting in, I got in 2 rewatches this week, of course. And boy, as fun as the movie is, it's all good. As fun as the movie is, it's at times it almost kind of gets like, oh fuck. That's accurate to now. Kind of like right? Idiocracy.
Yeah, 500 years, 3 hours later.
The thing it's wrong on is Taco Bell sucks worse.
Oh,
God, dude. Yo, I don't know. You go to a Taco Bell and they got all this shit on the menu that says it has meat in it. Then if you order it, it's all just like bean smush. There's no
Taco
meat
Bell is garbage now.
It's like, why go there? That place
Taco
is fucking
Bell has
gross.
always been garbage.
No, there was a time
it's never been good. But Jesus fucking Christ.
It's the same menu for the last 40 years.
No, it isn't, Mike. Well, not just
at
that.
least put some mouse in it.
It's more or less the ingredients and shit like that have changed. Trust me.
Well, the quality of the ingredients is.
That's what I mean. Like they used to at least be decent.
Yeah.
I know a chalupa wasn't a real chalupa, but god damn it, those motherfuckers weren't yummy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The quality of the meat, the beans, and all that shit.
All that shit.
Yeah. You're 100% right. You know what else has gotten down? Talk about that freaking little salsa shit that they used to have. Remember It'd be all scrumptious. Now it's just like
The green
tomato
stuff?
syrup. Yeah, the little packets, the salsa.
Yeah, they got
yeah.
bland ass salsa. That's true.
Yeah, that's gone downhill too.
Oh yeah, when I used to work there, it was decent, and it turned to shit after years. Brian Barth wants to know: releasing Zack Snyder's version in 2017 wouldn't have made a difference. Warner spent more money, and then you retool for nothing. Well, here's the problem: Zack Snyder's version wasn't ready to be released in 2017. That's why, and he wasn't going to get it done, and that's why they brought in Joss Whedon to mop up the mess.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing, though. Let's just like hypothetically, like imagine a scenario. Let's just say the movie got pushed back 6 months and it became Zack's quote unquote vision. The movie would have not done as well, just off the fact that BVS was so divisive. Like people were highly anticipating BVS, and then that division happened. And Justice League, even if it turned out to be good and people liked it and well received at the time, the problem is it was coming off the sins of the father, aka BVS, and it would not had the opening weekend it should have had because people were already divided 2 movies in a row from Zack Snyder. So at that point,
I think
people were checked out.
I think you're 100% right. If they would have even gave him the extra 6 months to finish it, even if it was almost exactly what we had gotten on HBO Max, I don't think it would have done nearly as well at that point. I don't think the fan base was ready for it. And I hate saying it, a lot of Snyder fans forget that most people weren't big fans of this direction. Justice League was a decent film, but no matter which way you cut it, you can try and claim that the Ultimate Edition of BVS is better. But yeah, it's better than the other version, but you still got 3 different movies in that movie. It's still the same movie. It still ends in the same place.
You've got 3 versions of crap.
Well, I mean, I don't hate Zack Snyder's version, but again, I'm with Nick on this, that if it would have come right on the heels of BVS, it would have suffered a horrible death at the box office.
See, to me, they're all just all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like none of the DC movies have hit home with me. Like, oh my God, this is
one
cool.
of my issues is the characterization. Like, here's my biggest issue with a lot of the characters act the same. So if I like read the dialogue of a lot of these scripts and not knew who the characters were, I could have sworn not more than 3 characters speaking the entire movie because they're all somber, they're all depressed out of their fucking minds, they're always whining and crying. Clark Kent's parents gave the worst advice. Like, they don't have much like differentiation. Like, obviously Ezra Miller's Flash was different compared to them, but that was just bad different. But most of them, they were just all the same, depressed out of their minds. And I swear Zack Snyder, he keeps like talking about how he was a comics fan. I don't think he was a comic fan. If I had to guess, he was an Alan Moore and Frank Miller fan.
That's probably true.
Just because you're an Alan Moore, Frank Miller fan doesn't make you a comics fan. There's still Denny O'Neil. There's still Bill Finger and Bob Kane. There's still Gardner Fox, creator of Hawkman. I don't think he could tell you those type of names. He could tell you the mainstream names that were on Time magazine.
You know, like Nick is saying, not only is this dialogue interchangeable, but look at all the plot points. Most of the plot points in all these movies could have been done by any one of the characters. It's not like each action they had to accomplish was only doable by this one character because he could do X, Y, and Z.
Well, and that was
which is why you have him on the team in the first place.
First of all, they wanted.
Go ahead.
No, Mike. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I could go on for an hour about the Snyderverse and defending it, but I'm not going to. But I will say the comment I do want to make is that going back to what Tom was talking about earlier, when you talk about the Warner Media executives, they should have not brought someone in to finish and push this movie out. They should have said, okay, fine, we're going to stop, slow, let's come back. Because all they did is they rushed to deliver shit. And frankly,
they had to get their bonus, Mikey.
I know, and that was my point earlier that you were making, Tom, and I wanted to highlight that. These Warner Brothers executives don't care about fans. They don't care about the properties or accurate or good storytelling. They care about their bonus checks and making money and just riding the hog of cash. It sucks.
And hiring people like David S. Goyer. Like, and here's the thing is, and this is what I was going to say, is it's the Warner Brothers execs' fault. Like Snyder, I don't blame him. I don't. As much as I disliked his movies, I don't blame him. It's not his fault. They wanted him to make Superman like Batman. They wanted all these characters to be darker. And you can love Man of Steel. I don't say that Man of Steel is a bad movie. I say it's a bad Superman movie.
Yeah,
I don't mind Man of Steel as a movie,
I agree.
but the problem you have is it's and you can give me the whole it's Superman becoming Superman stuff all day long, and that's not my point either. And
But it could have been a Flash
I
movie.
just rewatched the 1970 when it came out 70. I just rewatched it the other day as a break from work. I just rewatched it, and that's Superman. You know, there's certain things that are Superman, and yeah, I'm 100% right. It was a great. I enjoyed the movie, but I didn't.
Dude, that's why I
enjoy the
say
treatment of
redo the
Superman.
whole thing, because you need that.
And you're right.
That bright Superman.
When BBS is partially a good movie, it's that third act where everything goes completely.
Well, here's the
off
problem.
the
The stories. It's going back to the Alan Moore fandom comment. Was that Nick that said that a minute ago? You know, it's
yes.
like, yeah. So you're 100% on point, because it's like the story, the versions of these characters that we got. Now I love Snyder, and I love, but the problem is, or the challenge is that he picked in the whole history of all these characters, he picked a certain set of stories and then was told, like Tom says, to present them in a certain way. And then really what it did is it fractured the DC fandom, a la, guess what? Star Wars. You know?
Understandably so, Mike. Because think about it, it's like he read Alan Moore and Frank Miller's stories and said, "Oh my God, every story needs to be like this." He doesn't understand that Barry Allen was the guy who had a little bit of a lightheartedness in him. He doesn't understand that character like Hal Jordan would have like a Daredevil, not Matt Murdock Daredevil, but just like a guy who lives life on the edge type. But he doesn't understand that. He thinks everyone is just somber and depressed out of their minds, like Watchmen.
And Snyder didn't have Kevin Feige's sensibility like Kevin Feige had with Marvel. That's what.
Well, and that's where I go back to the writers. It's that and the studio wanting him to make. And I guarantee you, they told him make Superman like Batman Begins.
Oh,
that's what Man of Steel is. They're basically beat for beat with the way they deal with the flashbacks, the whole way the whole thing goes. And that's why they wanted Nolan involved, because this was all on the heels of Dark Knight and all that business. So they're like, and Nolan didn't want shit to do with it. So he was just slapped his name on his producer and ran interference with John Peters. That's all.
He was smart to get out.
Did. Well, and he had no real desire to be in, right? Like,
that saved him a lot of career bullshit.
Well, you're right. He was smart enough to know that Superman wasn't his bag, right?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Snyderverse thoroughly because the comics.
And I'm not taking anything away from anybody who does. Don't get me wrong.
To me, when all these came out, what bummed me out was that he was trying to tell too many different comic stories in too few hours in these movies, and the structure of the movies was effed up. But see, I loved all of these stories when they came out. Death of Superman, all of that stuff, right? The problem is that Snyder's basically he grabbed all of them and threw them out there. Now I'm still a Snyder guy fan because I love those stories. I do, however, treat them to me, like, because I'm so deep in comic books and all the TV and the movies, other stuff. To me, I take it's almost like I take it as like it's a different buffet, if you will. Like to me, it's not. I like for example, I'll draw this example. Like Star Wars, like, you know, the reason why I react to the sequel trilogy is because it's so out of character for all the rest of ones. To me, the Snyderverse stuff is also out of character for the body of work, but I just treat it as it's a separate thing completely.
No, and that's fine. Like an Elseworld thing, and that's cool.
Yeah.
The quick answer to this,
like
John.
My bad.
I was just saying the quick answer to who John Peters is and why he's involved. John Peters is a producer. He started out as Barbara Streisand's hair person, if I remember correctly, and her boyfriend. And then he started producing movies, got lucky, produced some famous movies, and most luckily got involved with Batman. And then right after Batman, he got himself injected into Superman, and they were going to make a Superman movie for years. So he was attached to Superman Lives, Superman Returns, all these other things. And he is notoriously a guy who's chock full of bad ideas. And basically the whole thing was Snyder didn't want to have to deal with him, and rightfully so. My suggestion is to check out Superman Lives documentary from John Schnepp called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. It's an excellent documentary that covers pretty much everything you need to know. But yeah, he is a nut job. He came up with some pretty silly shit, let's say. He wanted Superman to fight a gigantic spider. He thought Superman should have polar bears for guards at the Fortress of Solitude.
Are they super bears?
No.
They're just normal polar bears?
As far as I know, yeah, they were just normal polar bears.
Well, I guess they're not going to fuck with him.
Well, and he even
The first one did, and the rest of them watched.
And he told Kevin Smith the reason that Batman works was because of him, because he's from the streets and he understands and gets Batman.
Batman is from the rooftops, yo.
Yeah, sitting on gargoyles and just waiting.
No, this guy's a nut bar. He got his big spider though. It was in Wild Wild West.
He's like, I'm from the streets. I work in Hollywood.
It's not about the beer that I drink, but how I party after. It defines me.
I party in the back streets of this guy's mansion.
You tamed my monster.
When college humor used to actually be good.
Yes. That's kind of some of the inspiration for Bat Tom, but only partially.
Where did you go?
He's taking on a life of his own. That's for
Yeah.
sure. The only other news to talk about was the trailer for Moon Knight dropped pretty late last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I got some thoughts on this one. Now, Chef sent me this one last night. She saw it when it first came out, right? So I checked this thing out, and it starts off with him already nuts. Because, like, I don't know if anybody knows, Moon Knight's from the mid-'70s, right? But he became nuts slowly, right? So now he's already nuts when we go into this story. So now he's going to find out that he's freaking Moon Knight while he's coming out of this madness. It's an interesting approach that avoids the "you killed my parents" thing, like Batman does over and over again.
Well, before we get too deep into Moon Knight phrasing, Professor Gray says movie Bob did a great autopsy for Batman v Superman. I highly recommend it. Really that bad Superman v Batman, it's called. I'm not a big fan of movie Bob, but yeah, I guess I'm sure that even a broken clock is right twice a day. So
true that.
Check that out on his suggestion if you'd like. But yeah, Moon Knight. It looks all right. I'm not so sold on Oscar's accent yet. I guess I got to see it in more action. Did you check it out, Mike?
He said he had to be right back.
Oh, okay. What about you then, Nick? Did you get to check it out?
I did, and I wouldn't say I was blown away, but I didn't exactly hate it. I mean, here's the thing. Of course, I'm gonna be that comic guy again. I've read a good amount of Moon Knight. This definitely seems to be taking from more of the latter era Moon Knight, which, to be fair, isn't particularly bad. Like, Jeff Lemire had a great run. When there was the whole shitstorm going on with the all new, all different Marvel, one of the few runs that I was actually enjoying and reading was Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight. Greg Smallwood did the pencils on that. And you saw a lot of those, like Stephen Grant and the Mr. Knight personalities. You're seeing a lot of that stuff, definitely from the 2010s-ish era come to life in this. Now, it's definitely not
Mr. Knight thing. That was late in his personality split.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Almost like a fifth personality.
Yes, so they're definitely leaning towards latter, at least as what the trailer shows. Now, visually, it looks a lot better than I thought it would. I honestly was kind of terrified of how this would look.
The costume does look pretty damn good.
Yeah, the costume looks good. I'm surprisingly pleased with the costume. I'm kind of fearful of where the humor, how far they're going to take the humor on this, because as someone who has read the material for Moon Knight, this should be as serious as Daredevil. And that's just like, Marvel has its place for humor, but it does not suit Moon Knight. Every now and then there's a time and place for a sarcastic remark, but it shouldn't be a quippy Joss Whedon festival a la Brian Michael Bendis either. Like,
yeah, that's a puke fest. And you're right, because it should have the seriousness of like the Netflix Daredevil, right? Which is going to be hard for Disney Plus, but also has to have that same like edge that of profanity, for lack of a better word, that Deadpool has. So he's not your G-rated superhero. But Nick? What do you think about? How do you think they're going to unwrap this storytelling? Do you think they're really going to start out where he's like in a nut house and he's got to realize he's Moon Knight and he's going to like, are they going to show everything he's done before? Like,
Now, are we talking about like mental history, or are we talking about violence? Or are we talking both?
just his whole overall history, because if he's already at X point, we're not seeing him from the beginning. So how are they going to do that? You think?
I've been trying to imagine that, Jesse. That's a fantastic question. I'd imagine they'll do aspects of it. They won't go all in, because once again, this stuff is not something you can just fully show on Disney Plus. Now, they could do, to be very fair, let's not forget, like, there's a lot of brutal kills from the Joker and the Dark Knight, and now still PG-13. And a lot of it, you knew what was happening, but they didn't show it. And in some cases, that's more effective. And because it kind of gives you like the visual in your mind, and you get like that, like you kind of like get that uneasy feeling. If they do that for Moon Knight, that could work as far as the violence is concerned. But also
somebody
with the
else's
multiple
blood on a white
personalities.
suit goes a long way.
Yeah, like that stuff
I was
does
surprised how
work.
violent that Hawkeye was, to be honest with you, too. But Mike, did you have a question?
I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know shit about this character because I'm not a Marvel guy. I was always a hardcore DC guy. I've never read any comics. But let me get this straight. So, from what I understand the trailer, it's a story about a guy that can't sleep, can't distinguish reality from, is he sleeping, is he awake? That's Tom Connors.
If I had a dead mummy living in me, yeah, that would probably be the same story.
Are you the herald of an Egyptian god?
I think Tom is the hero that we need. I mean, if we need a superhero that has to sleep on, like, that's Tom. Doesn't sleep, does sleep. Is he sleeping? Is he awake?
You would chain me to the bed.
Khonshu confirmed. Khonshu confirmed.
Yep. And then Andre summons him. You need to do another editing. I have sent you. I have just emailed to you the latest script, Tom.
Mike, chain me to the goddamn bed.
Nick, what was the god that empowers Moon Knight again? Can't remember his name.
Khonshu.
Now is he the same? He's basically with the same relation to Moon Knight as Satorak is to Juggernaut, right?
Yes.
Would you put that the same relationship?
Yes. Khonshu is the voice in his head. Khonshu is the one that gives him the power. Khonshu keeps him in check. Khonshu is everywhere. Where Mark and Stephen Grant.
Juggernaut or Moon Knight?
I'd have to think about that one.
But he's not one of the 9 gods that Satorak makes champions to fight with each other.
I'm not as well versed in the Juggernaut. Like, I'm moderately versed. I know some of the concept, like some of the stuff you mentioned, but I'm not as well versed. I actually do know more about Moon Knight than I do Juggernaut. Like, I'm gonna have a very unpopular opinion.
Well, Juggernaut, the whole thing is there's like 9 gods. One of them Satorak. They all pick a herald, and that the herald is their champion, and the champions fight each other as opposed to the gods fighting each other. But he empowers them the same way that Moon Knight is empowered.
Yes, correct.
Where he's not like actually possessed, but it's like the thing that's granting him what he has.
Mm-hmm.
Like a more extreme Silver Surfer Galactus relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I've never looked too far into Juggernaut because I know my Juggernaut, my most extensive Juggernaut is some of the basics and also his fights with Spider-Man. Because I was actually, believe it or not, I was never much of an X-Men guy growing up, so that was just kind of like, he was just the Juggernaut to me. And then of course I laughed my ass off when what's his name, Vinny Jones is like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I'm like, oh god.
Oh yeah. That was freaking stupid and hilarious. It was like, go back to Gone in 60 Seconds. I enjoyed that one. It had Nick Cage in it.
Y'all. All right. I guess we shall talk about this suit.
Yeah. Coming up though, Nick, you got Toxic Tuesday talking about some Demolition Man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try and hop in there. I'm gonna share the link in the chat.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Park up for that.
Yes, that'd be great. Quarter Black Garrett will be on with us as well, folks.
Sweet.
So it's gonna be a fun time having Garrett on. He's real excited. He's plugging the channel on his stream. So it's gonna be a fun one tonight. I mean,
it's so neat that he's like coming to this community.
Oh, I know. It's
Garrett's
great.
awesome.
Garrett's such a fun.
We're supposed to be doing something for Team NT again too.
Ooh, I'll be watching that as a fan.
Yeah, we did the first movie. I think we're going to talk the second movie soon. I think is what we discussed.
Ooh, Secret of the Ooze.
But no, like Moon Knight's looking interesting. So hopefully it's decent considering the other crap we've gotten so far out of Marvel. It's at least a little higher tier character, I would say, than some of the other ones they've decided to go with as of late. So yeah. Other
What
than
I
that,
do. Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
No,
I was
go
gonna say
ahead.
one last thing. I mean, granted, there could be a big bait and switcheroo. The one thing that I do like from what it looks like in this trailer, it looks like Moon Knight is the character to pay attention to, not checkbox like Loki and Sylvie or Clint and Kate, like or Wanda and Vision. Granted, of course, WandaVision is very fair, historically accurate, but it just seems like they need to always have like someone to balance out the other. Like if it's a guy, they need to have the girl. It seems like this is a Moon Knight story. I could be wrong. They do the bait switch, but I just
Yeah, I
want to
don't
see
see
a
like
Moon
the
Knight show.
Superwoman.
Yeah. I want. It looks like it's actually gonna be a Moon Knight show. Whether it'll be good or not is obviously a conversation for another day. But it looks like it's gonna be a proper Moon Knight show, or at least the closest thing to that in Disney Plus language.
Well, we can't complain about that as long as it's not a bait and switch and make it a Moon Knight woman or whatever. So
They're doing reshoots on this thing.
what was that, Mike?
I think are they gonna? I'm sorry. I thought they were doing reshoots on this thing.
Were they on this one too? I thought was this.
Yeah.
I thought,
You want me to? Here, I'll send you the article right now.
I believe you with all this shit that's going on.
I mean, see,
I mean,
Thomas,
everything else has gotten reshoots. But I'll be honest, I think like most of these reshoots is because they're probably adding a bunch of cameos and shit just because of how well Spider-Man turned out.
See, that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I love
could be wrong,
Spider-Man No Way Home. I've seen it twice in theaters, but this just kind of brings me back to, I may have said it on here, or maybe you have said it, but this is just Hollywood learning the wrong lessons from everything, thinking, oh, now we just need big appearances and everything. Like, now we can't have an origin story be an origin story anymore. We need everything to be spectacle. And that's not fair to characters who are starting out, who are new. Like, I want Moon Knight to be a Moon Knight story. And then when Moon Knight actually develops, he can start interacting with these other characters. And that's why I feel like works for Captain America, Thor, Iron Man. We got to let those characters breathe and find their way and then be put amongst the Avengers. Now we're just throwing everyone together. It's like they're starting to become Warner Brothers now.
Yep, just pop them off the conveyor belt and pop them up in a line like they're your action figures, because that's the point. Let's buy some action figures.
Yeah, it looks like Mikey's right, and it was almost pretty much confirmed by Oscar himself that less than a week ago, they are doing some reshoots. We can hope Goddess of Whim, but I'm not so sure. I'm still not 100% convinced that Spider-Man wasn't non-woke because of anything more than they just didn't have time to worry about it. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope things are changing for the better. But with that, I think we're going to wrap things up so we can give everybody a little bit of time before Nick's show. Here is the link. Join us over there. We're going to be hanging out, talking about some Demolition Man.
I know the answer to the 3 seashells.
What's with the 3 seashells? You know,
Hey, here's a hint. You don't shove them up your butt.
No.
I don't know what to say.
There's a reason Rob Snyder was laughing at him.
There's no reason we need to end the show talking about like seashells going up anybody's boot top.
Look, that's the major debate. That's the major debate.
No,
Jesse,
Man, there's no debate. There's nothing that needs to go up the booty. Nothing.
Oh,
I used to major debate.
Their entire forums dedicated to the 3
because
seashells.
I heard if you major debate too much, you go blind. You know,
that's true. Or they'll put you in a frozen tank of ice so your wife could bang at the glass.
Absolutely.
That you bang at the block of ice that used to be your husband. That's the one.
Oh, Lordy. Anyways,
right.
I guess I'll lead off with the plug since I got to do
Please
some
do.
setting up with Mark D with a C. Tom, thank you for sending me the last minute invite. I appreciate it. Jesse, Mike, always great to see you guys. Jesse, I'll see you soon. And Tom, if you got time, you know what to do. If you don't, no sweat as well. I know you.
I will be there, sir. I might be a few minutes late, but I will be there.
Yeah, I'll just be sitting here.
I'm gonna be eating nachos.
He's gonna be eating
I love
nachos. Dude, don't ever change. Eat more nachos, okay? Eat more and more. But anyways, yes, Toxic Tuesday's coming up. Demolition Man. And I've got a Mickey Mouse rant coming this week. It's gonna be great. It's where I rant about something in Mickey Mouse voice, and Mickey Mouse is very mad that Spider-Man's making all the money and he only gets 25% of it. So keep your eyes and ears open for that Mickey Mouse rant. And I got more comic videos I'm working on. So I'll see you all shortly on Toxic Tuesday. And Tom, once again, thank you for having me on.
Of course.
And I'll see you guys all real shortly. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see you in a few. And then, Mike, anything you got going on you want to plug, or just
Whatever you tell me to do when I need to do it.
The trash needs to go out.
Okay, no problem.
Jesse, you got anything to plug?
Yeah, holes and dams and stuff. No, I play video games most of the time because I'm
Sharon
too lazy to
Stone?
do live streams because we end up talking about rotary phones and cheese for 5 hours or milk.
It always starts somewhere and ends there.
No, it always starts. That's just the thing. It never starts somewhere. It starts with just us sitting around being quiet, and then like somebody says something stupid, and then like the next thing you know, we're having.
Well,
a
sometimes
conversation
you'll
for
start
8
with
hours.
whatever the main topic of the time is. I mean, to be fair, like, you'll start, but then it always just devolves into talking about cheese and rotary phones
Yeah,
and swords and shit.
yeah, anything, literally anything.
So yeah, check out Jesse's channel. They're always talking about something. And Jesse likes to play a lot of video games. I hop in
Yeah,
once
I
in a while
really
and say hello.
do. I really do. Join my guild.
Yes.
That's what I'm playing a lot.
Welcome
of
to
now.
the cult, as he says.
Yeah, welcome to the cult.
And Six says she has never heard anything stupid said on Jesse's streams.
You lie.
You're
It's
listening
like
to the
fucking
wrong
Leonardo
guy.
in the Turtles movie. You lie.
Do I?
That movie's so good.
The rat.
It's a damn
Had
shame that they
me.
can't figure that out. Like,
It
dude, like seriously, it's
had
30 years
me.
later. They still can't figure out how to make a movie that's as good as that one.
How do they learn to fight like this?
Mm.
You will answer.
Well, I really would have preferred
Then
it
hang
if
there till you die.
Hamato Yoshi was morphed into a rat as opposed to being the rat that was morphed into Splinter.
It makes more sense.
It would. It would be much.
Now
Be
I
less
will
silly.
finish what I began with your ear.
No.
You guys ever notice that when Shredder rushes him and he does the nunchuck flip around the spear, that he has a human hand?
No, I'll have to check that out again.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Dude, when I see little things that like flash by in movies, my brain always catches it because it's like
think
a
you
glitch
only
in the
see those-
Matrix.
I think you only see those things when you're
Yes.
smoking.
Probably, dude.
No,
Like
no,
right in the
Kusaki.
beginning of the movie where
We
Mikey's
met
waiting on the
In
pizza.
the home
and,
of my master.
and
Hamato
Donnie comes
Yoshi.
down on the...
I can do that whole fucking movie from beginning to end.
Obviously.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
We
The
are
shredder.
family.
Huh, maybe all that
I am
hardware's
your
for making
father.
coleslaw.
Let's do that table read.
Fuck yeah. Might as well.
Fuck,
be
that would
fun.
be awesome.
I can buy. Oh, dude,
You're already
I
Mikey.
want to get for it's like $250. I have
What?
not had the balls to drop the money on it. You can get a special edition bound version of the script with storyboards and shit in it.
Really?
Which
Yeah.
movie?
Does it have those
TMNT
cool pictures
1990.
April was drawing?
I don't. It's just the storyboards and the script. So, but I mean, the
There
script
must
is
be a lot of storyboards.
just the action sequences and stuff like that. Yeah,
That's cool.
I don't know what all they was storyboard in it, but
But the other thing that
like $250 though.
the
See,
other
like
thing that
Six says,
bothered
I
me in
don't
that
need
movie
that.
was
That's a grip.
I don't need it, but I would feel better if I had it.
Ah!
but anyway, when Donnie spins around on the skateboard, he's got a human hand. So there's two human
That I've
hands in
seen
that
because you can
movie.
tell from the waist up. Because I think you can even see in the one shot the guy's shirt. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, some of that stuff I've picked out, but I don't. I'll have to check the nunchuck thing again.
And once again, what was his name? Ernie Reyes Jr. That was in number 2. He was the reason he's in those movies is because he does half the shit in the turtle costumes.
Well, he was Donnie in the first movie for all the action sequences.
Yeah. Then in number 2, they used somebody else because he was already in that scene. And then that guy got over anxious when they busted through the wall to where Vanilla Ice was playing. And the guy in the Donnie costume did a jumping spin heel kick, and he fucking kicked the fucking foot soldier's teeth out of his head. He did. He kicked his teeth right out of his head, right through that foam foot. Bam!
If
Ninja
I could
Turtle
make it
power.
fame, you know, like this, I've seen some of those videos and shit. That's just crazy about people just walking out with shit in LA, but it's on a website, so I doubt I could just walk in somewhere. Oh, see, Morgan King
Tom
says
lives
I
in
need
middle
it.
America. He
So
doesn't live in Cali.
how do I argue with that? I do those kind of things, Six. I do, but you know, it is what it is. I still feel better if I have it in my possession. Then I can die at least knowing I had it.
Damn, you watch Turtles for 17 hours straight?
Wow.
Well, there's the 3 Turtles movies, and there's
There's plenty of
cartoon
stuff to
one.
watch. It's not like you'd
Yeah,
have to
there is.
repeat anything.
Yo, I got my son the old cartoon in the turtle van. Like it comes in a turtle van.
Yeah, I got that one too. Yeah.
I got him the Scooby-Doo one like that too.
Oh, nice.
For the
Okay, well
old
then I don't
show.
have to get you that. I was going to get you the Scooby-Doo box
That's
set
funny.
already.
Yeah, it's sitting
I was
downstairs.
going to ask you, but no.
Oh, my
never
son,
mind. All right.
dude, my son's got an almost complete Scooby-Doo collection.
Well, they got the Blu-rays that just come out. They re-released them in a different kind of package, so they're
Oh, really?
whatever. But like, yeah, I didn't know if you had them or not, but
How
obviously
now,
you do.
something like that? Like you're talking 1968 Hanna-Barbera cartoon footage. How much can you upscale that?
Oh, the
like a
HD looks fine.
4K
Look, it's done on
Blu-ray?
film. It's done on film. It doesn't matter. As long as something's done on film and they have the film, it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
look
even the
beautiful.
cells had like dust on them.
Well, you'll see some of that kind of stuff sometimes, but I mean, it is what it is. It still looks much better than any 1080p or video.
But does it look like a super duper clear cartoon?
Or 480p? Oh yeah. Like, dude, do you have HBO Max or anything like that?
Yeah, I got too many.
They got like
subscriptions.
they should be on there in HD already. Go check them out.
All right.
They look great. Yeah, they got
Do
the
a
Flintstones
comparison.
on there, Jetsons, that there's Thundar, I think, is on there in HD. They got quite a few of the classic Hanna-Barbera ones done already. They
Yeah,
look pretty
soon I
good.
got to order that TV for the basement.
No, I mean,
that
I will
Valiant
admit
was
that
talking about.
animation probably has the least to gain by going over to 4K.
You would
because
think, because I mean, how good,
I've only seen a couple
with Saturday
animated
morning
films
cartoon
though, but
quality.
well, yeah, I mean, there's that aspect of it, but I mean, outside of maybe the helping with some of the color and definite, like, there's nothing really for definition to catch.
So
you know
they
what I
do.
mean?
They'll go back and remaster the whole thing and work at color saturation and all that shit.
No, it'd be more natural colors is all. Like,
Right.
because like every time you downgrade from 1080 to 480 and all that stuff, you lose quite a bit of the color and definition and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as animation goes, animation has always looked excellent on DVD, let alone anything else.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm
So-
saying. If you have DVD quality cartoon, you're really getting better than that.
But like, oh yeah, if it's done on film, it'll look amazing. Like there's a huge jump in the quality, like from say like the Batman animated series, for instance, because the original DVDs were from the Video Masters, and then they went back to the Film Masters for the Blu-ray, and they look gorgeous. I mean, it's basically looks like a film, right? Because they have film they use for the Masters, so it looks great. So, but anyway, we're gonna wrap this up because I had a couple things I wanted to do before I headed over to Nick's, and I suppose I'll see you there, Jesse. And it doesn't sound like you're gonna be there, Michael. It sounds like you're gonna be eating some nachos.
Yep.
On my behalf. So, yeah.
If you love nachos, go to Jimmy Buffett's, bro.
No, I'm going to go to my kitchen where they're waiting for me.
Oh,
My mom
Yo.
made
Cute. I remember when I had my first beer.
homemade tortilla chips, like old school Mexican
Oh,
style.
nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like literally, she made the beans. She cooked the beans overnight, and she
Ooh.
made the chips by hand.
I'll
How
be
do you
right
do
there.
that?
Yeah, these are
Do you
going to
need
be
do you
yummy.
need like some kind of stone to put it in the oven or something?
Well, this is what you do, Jesse. You make the
No,
cornmeal stuff
just-
and you mash it up into fucking whatever.
Wait, did you say do we need a stone oven? Wait, what?
Do you need it like
No,
a
you
stone?
deep
Like
fry
like
it.
people use a pizza steel to make pizzas.
No, you
Do
deep
need,
fry
like,
them.
No,
You
you
deep
need
fry 'em?
electricity
Yeah.
for the oven.
Oh, yeah, she actually bake them?
Yeah. Well, she
Oh, she
fries
bakes
them.
them?
She fries them, and
Yeah.
then they're baked solid. So
Right.
Oh, I got you.
yeah. So they're freaking delicious and yummy. I'm gonna go have some right now. Okay, good night, everybody.
Yeah, let's get out of here. And yeah, of course, it is going to look very good, Mecha Jam. Just saying, like, That's one of the few times where I can sit there and say, if you got a good, decent print on a Blu-ray that's 1080p HD of an animated film or show, you're probably pretty good. The 4K ain't going to add much to it. So, but we'll see. I'll get a better idea when Heavy Metal comes out in a couple months.
Are you
I'm
guys
really
gonna do
looking forward
4K
to
for
that.
you tomorrow? I know you didn't do one last week. Are we doing? Are you
Yes,
guys
we're doing. We got so much shit to talk about 4K for you tomorrow. Oh my
Sweet.
god!
I can't wait for that show tomorrow. I'll be in the chat stream listening and
We got
learning.
The Godfather coming in March, on top of so many other things. Speaking of Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000 are coming to 4K. Can't wait. So, all right, let's get the hell out of here, kids.
This sucks camel dicks.